Welcome to the Raw Feed. I'm Gary Frank. We're streaming live to millions worldwide on YouTube, plus our freedom fighters on Rumble and X. And if you're watching right now, repost this show to your followers on X, bypass their algorithms completely, text the stream to everyone you know. They can't stop person-to-person sharing, and that's how we win this information war today. July 16th marks a historic parallel. On this date, in 1969, Apollo 11 launched America to the Moon, the ultimate display of American excellence and determination. That is, of course, if you believe the moon landing. But while we reach for the stars then, today we're reaching for something even more vital, the truth. Just like that moon mission exposed the limits of what's possible, today's show exposes the limits of what they thought they could hide from you. We've got your Super Chats and your Rumble rants ready to feature on screen, so send them in right now, even before we dive into today's explosive topics. And what sets the Raw Feed apart is we don't just talk at you, we talk with you. Your reactions in the live chat shape this show in real time. Remember, you're not just viewers, you are co-pilots in this journey for truth. Speaking of journeys, check out our merch shop at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. We've got alligator Alcatraz shirts that'll make the swamp creatures nervous, President autopen designs for the discerning patriot, and our American Badass series that speaks for itself. We're your favorite news source with pride, and if you want to support the show privately, you can hit those donation links in the description below. Every dollar keeps us independent and fighting. And for those ready to go deeper, join our YouTube channel memberships. You're going to get special acknowledgement in the chat, behind-the-scenes uploads, and access to our exclusive Discord server where the conversation never stops. Each membership level comes with its own perks, so choose what works for you. Now, let's find out what we're going to be covering tonight, because this might be our most explosive show yet. The MAGA movement is experiencing its own civil war over the Epstein files, with Trump calling his own base stupid for demanding transparency. We'll show you the tweets that have set the America First movement on fire, but I think what just happened, Donald Trump may have just saved face. Yeah, this is a big development, and you're not going to want to miss this. I think that this all coming to a conclusion with what President Trump just said. And also, we will be exposing the autopen presidency. Jill Biden's top aide just pled the fifth when asked who was really running the country. The implications are staggering, and we have the receipts. We're also going to be diving into the FBI's new grand conspiracy case against the Russiagate architects. Adam Schiff has now been referred for mortgage fraud, and that's just the appetizer before the main course of treason charges. Plus, Jerome Powell's firing is imminent as Bill Pulte demands answers about that $2.5 billion Federal Reserve renovation. What were they building? A palace or a prison? And finally, the defunding begins. NPR and PBS are losing their taxpayer lifeline after calling the Declaration of Independence offensive. That's right. The propaganda machine is being dismantled piece by piece. So make sure you're following us on Rumble and X. That is where we go when, well, we finally get silenced. This is your show, your voice, and your movement. So let's expose what they desperately want hidden. And time to feed the raw truth to a starving nation. Let's get into it and welcome you to the show. Duty to Rebel dropping $2 already in the Super Chat. Welcome. Thank you for that. I'm going to go ahead and put that on the screen because that's what we do. MAGA and N3 for life, y'all. Much appreciated. Let's see who's in the house tonight. We got Barbara and Lori and James and Robert, overeducated. Who else here? We got Michael in Las Vegas. Sabrina, Crazy Cat Lady is here. Loyalty to Truth. John Doe, Avalex LLC. Jonah DZ. We've got Patricia Williams in the house as well. Did you guys see what happened on Fox 32 this morning? Well, yeah, I was up at 5 a.m. and we had to get out for a live news hit on Fox News 32 for their morning show. Special stuff, not totally related in any way to what I do for the Raw Feed, but there are some things that are slightly related. They have to do with these two items right here. But if you want to go to my Facebook page, my personal Facebook page, or my professional page, whatever you want to call it, you can see the news reports there. Gen X is here. R. Boyd, Sabrina, Lynn, Jeremy Olson, Goat Biscuit is here. Patricia, Leafian from Illinois, Ross Reynolds, and Tyson Curie. Robin is here. Clark Kennett is here. Matt Roadbush is here. Jeff Goodboy, Heather Reeve, what is up? Yes, Heather. Man, after this morning, I totally crashed. When I got home, like, all the driving around today was exhausting. So I crashed, and then we got the show on the road here. So here we are back in studio for the raw feed. So I don't want to waste any more time because we got some big news we have to get into. But let me just be clear. Welcoming into the show is not a waste of time. It's an honor to have you guys watching the show. You guys place your trust in me and my team so we can bring you the real news every single day so you can make informed decisions for yourself and your family. That's why we're here. Okay, let's go. KW86, get on with the show. I'm bored. Okay, well, you can always go and watch something else if you want. All right, let's go and see what we have in our first trivia question. Which 1960s scandal involved an assistant to LBJ who mysteriously died before testifying? A, the Bobby Baker affair. B, Billy Sol Estes case. C, Watergate, or D, Pentagon Papers? I have no idea. I don't think it's Watergate or Pentagon. I'm going to have to go with... I'm going to go with A, Bobby Baker. Shot in the dark. Maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys will educate me. You guys are already saying it's the Bobby Baker affair. Jim, thank you for the $2.99 right here in the Alex Jones jar. We certainly appreciate your support of the program. We got some big news we got to jump into. President Trump making a lot of noise today. But I think he may have just resolved everything. So this is huge news, and we're going to get right into it. They built a movement on exposing the elite. Now that movement is eating itself alive. What started as simple demands for transparency has detonated into something nobody saw coming. The man they crowned as their champion just turned his fire on his own soldiers. Words were said that can't be taken back, but maybe they have been. Maybe Donald Trump has just resolved this entire Epstein affair. You know, the lines were crossed, but can they really be uncrossed? And the files everyone wants open? Well, they're becoming the wedge that splits MAGA right down the middle. It's not just political drama. This is a reckoning years in the making. The establishment's watching, and they're also laughing as the populist uprising turns its weapons inward. Don't look away, because I think we may have finally found grace. Now, you probably think your 401k is safe, but it wasn't designed to make you wealthy. It was built to shift retirement costs and risks onto you, leaving your savings exposed to crashes, inflation, and chaos. But Americans are waking up and taking control of real assets like gold. Noble Gold Investments has helped thousands secure their future by converting part of their 401k into a tax-advantaged gold IRA without penalties or headaches. It's safe, it's simple, and it's smart. Visit nextnewsgold.com to get your free wealth protection kit and discover how to safeguard your savings. That's nextnewsgold.com. They are your exit from the danger zone, or you can call that number on the screen, 877-646-5347. And when you call, talk to Colin, tell him that Gary Franchi sent you. Now, this is the Truth Social post that everyone is talking about today. You really just can't look away from it, because this is the line here. Their new scam, referring to the Epstein files. This is Donald Trump's post, Truth Social. Their new scam is what we will forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. And my past supporters have brought into this BS, have bought into this BS hook, line, and sinker. Now, that's what President Trump had to say. He said the radical left Democrats have hit dirt again, just like with the fake and fully discredited Steele dossier, the lying 51 intelligence agents laptop from hell, which them swore had come from Russia. No, it came from Hunter Biden's bathroom, and even Russia scam itself, a totally fake and made-up story used in order to hide crooked Hillary Clinton's big loss in the 2016 presidential election. Scams and hoaxes are all the Democrats are good at. It's all they have. They're no good at governing, no good at policy, and no good at picking winning candidates. Also, unlike Republicans, they stick together like glue. Their new scam is what we will forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax, and my past supporters have bought into this BS hook, line, and sinker. They haven't learned their lesson and probably never will. Even after being conned by the lunatic left for 8 long years, I have had more success in 6 months than perhaps any president in our country's history. And all these people want to talk about with strong prodding by the fake news and the success-starved Dems, is a Jeffrey Epstein hoax. Let these weaklings continue forward and do the Democrats' work. Don't even think about talking about our incredible and unprecedented success, because I don't want their support anymore. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Make America great again. Yeah, that's pretty strong words right there from the president. Now, here is what President Trump said just a few hours ago in the Oval Office, and it's related to his Truth Social post. I'm setting this up because what just happened, I think, changes everything here with respect to that Truth Social post. So watch.
Christopher.
Mr. President, I know you want to past all this intrigue over the Epstein files, but I do want to ask you to clarify something you said this morning. You said this was all a hoax. Has your Attorney General told you this was a hoax? What evidence have you seen of that?
No, it's not the Attorney General. No, I know it's a hoax. It's started by Democrats. It's been run by the Democrats for 4 years. You had Christopher Wray and these characters and Comey before him. And it's a bad group. It started, actually, look at the Steele dossier that turned out to be a total hoax. The 51 agents, the intelligence, so-called intelligence agents, it was a hoax. It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats. And some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net. And so they try and do the Democrats' work. The Democrats are good for nothing other than these hoaxes. They're bad for policy. They're bad for picking candidates that can get elected. Like in New York, we have a communist running. He may get elected too, actually, but he'll destroy the city. No, it's I call it the Epstein hoax. It takes a lot of time and effort. Instead of talking about the great achievements we've had, a great gentleman yesterday, as you know, went on CNBC and he made the statement that Trump may go down as the greatest president of all in the United States. And instead of talking about the things we've achieved, we've had tremendous achievement. They're wasting their time with a guy who obviously had some very serious problems, who died 3-4 years ago. I'd rather talk about the success we have with the economy, the best we've ever had, and all of the things we've done, including the Middle East. I mean, you see it. Instead, they want to talk about the Epstein hoax. And the sad part is it's people that are really doing the Democrats' work. They're stupid people. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so let's get something very clear here. Yes, we want transparency. Yes, we want answers from those. But we still have to rally around President Trump. We cannot let this divide us and get us fighting each other. Okay, we can't turn our guns on each other and destroy this movement that we've worked so hard to get President Trump into the White House. Alex Jones had an interesting take that I want to bring to your attention here. He brought it up today in reaction to the Truth Social post. I think we have it here. Where is it? Pardon me. I've got a lot of stuff bookmarked for you here. Let's see.
Your church. You know what, Trump? I'm glad the Democrats aren't in, and I like a lot of the success you're having, and we're all having together. And your statements about, you people bring this up don't even deserve to be involved in this movement. You are excommunicata. You are henceforth ex cathedra from the mouth of the God King. You are expelled from the Church of the Holy Golden Toad, Donald John Trump. Well, I was never in the Church of the Holy Golden Toad. I do like you being a maverick, standing up for the country. We have the same enemies. I respect your stamina and courage. Been a big cheerleader when I agree with what you're doing. But if I'm being excommunicated, let me be clear, I was never in your church to be excommunicated. So you can't excommunicate me because I was never in your church. I was never in a cult. I never said MAGA was a cult. I said a lot of people want it to be a cult. There are Dallas Cowboy fans that are a cult and literally commit suicide if they lose, the playoffs.
Okay, so we've got that from Alex, right? Also, we're finding out This just in, Pam Bondi has fired Maureen Comey, daughter of James Comey, from her job as prosecutor in the Manhattan U.S. Attorney's Office, per Politico. She worked on the prosecutions of Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein, and Sean Diddy Combs. So she is out of a job. But I think we have something here that is very important to present to you. President Trump's move. This is John Solomon just a couple hours ago. President Trump's move, what move, is an important first step. AG Bondi now should name prosecutor, release an index of all docs collected, identify what is being withheld and why, and then ask the SDNY judge to unseal the 2019 grand jury materials. So here is John Solomon. He interviewed President Trump about the Epstein files. Here he is talking with Steve Bannon, giving a preview, and then we also have President Trump himself reacting. Listen.
Focus on the things that matter.
You did inform him that they're thinking about appointing a special counsel on this to take over this entire investigation.
Yeah, and he said, I think it's a good approach. Let's just do it. Let's get the trust of the American people. Let's get accountability, and then let's focus on the things that matter.
So he's on board with the situation of getting a special prosecutor and having the Epstein situation put into that, so that can be formally looked at.
Anything legitimate that should be looked at.
And really in a criminal context.
He volunteered it, by the way, Steve. I ask about the special, he immediately volunteers, and then I follow up on it. But he immediately brings up Epstein. Like, just throw that in. Let's get it all in. I got nothing to hide. I want truth, and I want prosecutions, and I just want the justice system to take care of what needs to be taken care of. It was really a remarkable moment.
You did
a remarkable moment, and we have that moment now. And I think this is going to put a lot of people at ease. We have been covering the division. We've been covering everyone's anger because we were told one thing and then we got nothing. Okay? And of course, we demand transparency. We want justice for those victims, and of course, we want accountability for the people who perpetrated those crimes against those kids, no matter who they are. Now, listen closely. President Trump.
On three different.
What do you think? What are the things are most important that you would like to see the FBI get to the bottom of?
I think they could look at all of it. It's all the same scam. They could look at this Jeffrey Epstein hoax also, because that's the same stuff. That's all put out by Democrats.
Yeah.
And some of the naive Republicans fall right into line like they always do. They just don't have the sustainability. They don't have they don't have that stick to it like glue. The Democrats, they have bad policy. They have bad candidates. They have bad everything. But they stick together. The Republicans don't do that. But they ought to look into the Jeffrey Epstein hoax too, because that's another hoax that's frankly put out by the pushing the Republicans and put out by the Democrats.
No, they definitely set the Republicans up. One big prosecutor look at it all. Would that make you feel good, you think?
Well, I think it's in the case of Epstein, they've already looked at it, and they are looking at it, and I think all they have to do is put out anything credible. But, that was run by the Biden administration for 4 years. I can imagine what they put into files, just like they did with the others. I mean, the Steele dossier was a total fake.
Right.
They took 2 years to figure that out for the people. And all of the things that you mentioned were fake. Yeah. So I would imagine if they were run by Chris Wray and they were run by Comey, and because it was actually even before that administration, they've been running these files. And so much of the things that we found were fake with me, but especially you look at that Steele dossier where they paid like 14 or 16 million. That's more than James Patterson gets paid to do a #1 bestseller.
Isn't that crazy?
And the thing turned out to be a total scam. So frankly, I think I love that they're looking at all this stuff. If they are, I hope they are.
Yeah, we've definitely confirmed it. They definitely are.
Mr. President, this is something that could give the American people answers on 3 different elections, 2016, 2020, and 2024. But to get that rolling, there are 2 sets of documents that are key to identify.
Okay, so what you just heard him say, special prosecutor being appointed to look into the Epstein files. And if you recall, last week, we found out that Matt Gaetz was called up to go to Washington, D.C. Now, we also know there's a grand conspiracy investigation that's also going on, which Matt Gaetz could be appointed to as well. Now, he denied that he was called up by Donald Trump for this reason, but of course, that's classic misdirection. Like, you don't just show all your cards and declare it. So and my gut tells me that Matt Gaetz is going to play a deeper role in this. Whether it's Epstein, whether it's the grand conspiracy, that remains to be seen. So I think this is going to bring the MAGA movement back together. I think as we watch the cards fall and we can pick up the pieces and we can track the special prosecutor's investigation. See, President Trump's calling the whole thing a hoax, which I think is, I mean, with all due respect, Mr. President, I don't think it's a hoax. I mean, tying it all together with Russiagate and all these things, I think you're putting it in a big bucket, which I don't think it belongs there. But you're saying there's fake things in there, which certainly could be. There could be a lot of planted evidence. We don't know. But that's why we need the special counsel to move forward and blow this whole thing wide open. I mean, Pam Bondi, she really screwed up in the rollout with everything she was saying. I have it on my desk. I don't have it on my desk. And then, there is no list, whatever. So continuing here, this is what Steve Bannon had to say about Epstein.
We get 10. Epstein is a key that picks the lock on so many things, not just individuals, but also institutions, intelligence institutions, foreign governments, and who was working with him on our intelligence apparatus and in our government. This is why it's a time for choosing now. We have to decide right now and back the president and say, hey, look, all of your great work. You just heard Tom Homan, you're about to hear Chris Nome, of closing the border. How did we get 10 or 11 or 12 or 20 million on Biden's watch? That was a plan they had. That wasn't random. That has to be investigated and people held accountable like all these other things. This is why the Justice Department is clearly overwhelmed with what they're working on. The FBI is overwhelmed. We only have 2 guys at the FBI. We have a handful of people at the Justice Department. The special counsel or special prosecutor can take on many projects and add people to it. You have to get to the bottom of how the invasion took place, why we now have to put up $170 billion in the latest bill to do this. We have to have a time for choosing. Here's my recommendation we do. I call them the Tampa Resolves. And it's very simple. Coming out of Tampa, it's like the revolution. They had the Virginia Resolves, and they would make these commitments to themselves before the Declaration of Independence. Number one, it's very simple. The deep state must be destroyed to free the American people. Is there any question about that? Is there any question about that? We have to destroy the deep state, and this is elements of the Pentagon, the Justice Department, the FBI, the CIA, certain elements that work under DNI, those 17 intelligence agencies, also parts of the State Department, the USAIDs of the world. That inner apparatus controls the government, and when President Trump tries to do something, they're always trying to thwart his actions, right? You see the leaks when Homan sent his brave men and women into Los Angeles to do these raids, like the raid about the children trafficked to the marijuana farm to work. They're lying in wait for him. They're lying in wait for the agents. They got weapons to shoot. How does the protesters? Because somebody inside leaked it to them. Somebody inside.
So all the noise today was kicked up by President Trump's post. And you saw Alex Jones like, hey, I'm not part of your church of MAGA. I'm going to continue to ask the questions, and we should always continue to ask the questions. And if this special prosecutor does, in fact, get instated, which we just heard is confirmed, then the questions will be asked. Now, here we have, this is 24 hours ago. Pam Bondi has lost all credibility due to her handling of the Epstein files. Her F-ups will now taint everything that the Trump DOJ does, including the grand conspiracy case Kash Patel initiated against Comey and Brennan and getting the truth of J6 in 2020. Well, what President Trump just said with John Solomon could save Pam Bondi's ass, too.
Same people are telling. I move the committee make an order amendment number 50 to H.R. 3633 offered by Representative Khanna, which would require the Attorney General to preserve and release any records related to Jeffrey Epstein. Madam Chair, on February 21st, 2025, President Trump's own Attorney General, Pam Bondi, said on Fox News, the Epstein client list was sitting on her desk, quote, right now to review, end quote. Kash Patel, Trump's FBI director, said during his confirmation hearing that he would do everything, if confirmed, to make sure the American people knew, quote, the full weight of what happened, end quote. Patel, who now leads the FBI, said on the Benny Johnson show that the FBI was hiding the Epstein client list. Donald Trump Jr., the president's own son, tweeted out, and I quote, show us all the Epstein client list right now. Why would anyone protect those scumbags? Ask yourselves this question, and then the answer becomes very apparent, end quote. And now, forgive me, but suddenly these same people are telling us there's nothing to see here. Trump is posting that we should all just move on. Well, I want to know what the hell is in these files. And I think we all want to know why Trump is suddenly changing his tune and is so desperate to sweep this under the rug. But you know what? This also gets at his credibility. This is about trust. Republicans said, trust us, vote for us, and we will release these files. Here we are. They are backtracking.
Okay. Now, of course, this was all recorded in this committee hearing meeting prior to Trump's revelation today. So you can see there's been so much noise and so much damage. I want to make something else very clear. That the Epstein files could completely destroy the Trump administration and how they handle it. And you could lose the midterms. I think you could lose the midterms over this whole case. And I think because there is so much on the line right now, the credibility of Pam Bondi, the credibility of promises that Donald Trump made on the campaign trail, I mean, the credibility of the whole administration and the rollout of these files. It all can destroy the entire potential for winning the midterms. I think they've finally seen the writing on the wall. You know, yesterday we played a clip of Charlie Kirk saying, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Dinesh D'Souza, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Donald Trump saying, don't talk about it anymore. Right? You saw the cabinet meeting where he's like, why are we still talking about Epstein? And the amount of blowback that has occurred has been heard. Your voice has been heard. I mean, when Donald Trump gets ratioed on his own social media platform, that means something. Okay? He's paying attention. And now we have confirmation that President Trump, as you see right here, he did with John Solomon, Just the News, he would support Pam Bondi appointing a special prosecutor to investigate the deep state, which would include the Jeffrey Epstein case. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. This is what we wanted. This is all we wanted. So what will the outcome be of this investigation? That remains to be seen. Will they release the outcome? We have to continue to track this. But I wanted to say this is very, very good news that has just come out. So you're hearing it right here on the Next News Network, and it's not going away. But but we do have this. Maureen Comey is going away. Yeah, she's not going to have her hands on anything in the Southern District of New York. Goodbye. But her dad, he's sweating bullets right now. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So why does all this matter? Because movements die from betrayal, not from enemies. When Donald Trump dismisses his own base as stupid Republicans falling for Democrat hoaxes, he's not just insulting voters, he's torching the very trust that put him in power. However, we are now getting solutions. We are moving forward, despite the fact that they told us to look the other way, nothing to see here. The appointment of a special prosecutor to look into the Epstein files, it's not some fringe conspiracy theory. Okay? They represent the ultimate test of whether this administration serves truth or protects the powerful. When Pam Bondi botches the handling, when the FBI releases doctored tapes, when Trump attacks those demanding answers, we are watching the populist revolution devour itself. But like I said, they are listening. They're listening to your voice. And they have answered it. So every parent who fears for their children, every citizen who demands accountability, every patriot who believed in draining the swamp that it meant something, we're all asking the same question. Whose side are you really on? And now I think we finally have an answer. But not all of them. So here's my very simple question for you. Should Donald Trump release all the Epstein files immediately? Simply yes or no. I want to take the temperature of our viewers here at the Next News Network. So drop your answer below. And while you're fired up, go ahead and check out our merch shop where real patriots gear up for battle. President Autopen, help us expose that. Support Alligator Alcatraz and pick your favorite member of the administration in our American Badass series and trigger a liberal today at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. You'll find it linked down below. Okay, so we got quite a few super chats that came through. Thank you guys. We appreciate that. Duty to Rebel broke the seal, $2 there. And then Jim, Jim Lem Cool, Hippo character waves goodbye. The words next time behind him. Looks like he had to depart for a moment. So thank you, Jim, for that. We'll put dollars here for Jim. And then Lori, she says, we need to stay MAGA strong. We can't let the Democrats win. Their goal is to destroy the MAGA movement. Thank you, Lori, for weighing in on that. It's very true. We cannot let them destroy us. And then Inhuman Condition says bombshell always equals no accountability. Well, bombshells is a word we use in our headlines because there's a lot of bombshells dropping these days. But accountability is something we must always demand. Free speech for life. MAGA is bigger than Trump. No blind followers. Thank you. Dropping $5 into the jar for that. No, we cannot be blind followers. All right, we have to support our president. We have to support the mission to make America great, keep America great. But we also have to hold power accountable, regardless. And that's what we do here. We love our president. We love what he's doing for this country. And I think that it's because our voices have been so loud that we're finally seeing this special prosecutor, because we did not hold back. So we also got Karen here who dropped $5. And Karen says, we are navigating a world of evil. We all need to be in prayer for the U.S. and MAGA, and most importantly, truth. That's absolutely right, Karen. $5 for the Next News Network Super Chat. Very grateful for that. And then also Wine Country Stackin' just became a member. What's up, Wine Country? Welcome to the family. And then we also have Ross Reynolds dropping $10, says, do we really care who wins the next election? It's about getting justice and accountability. Well, it does matter, Ross. It really does, because we want to maintain control of the House. We want to maintain control of the Senate. And if we lose seats, the margins are so thin, then we're going to see the witch hunts return, the committees bringing every single member of the Trump administration before them, and possibly even impeachment again. So these are things we do not want to see, Ross. That's why the midterms are so important. A lot of people sit out of the midterms, but we cannot sit back and let the other side win. Alice Cersei dropping a $5. Sing one line. Which side are you on? Which side are you on? All right, there you go, Alice. All right, you win this war. You win this time, Alice. All right. Okay, I see people are clicking out, but you don't want to click away yet, because we've got some more big news. I know the Epstein story is really big. It's top of mind, as KJP used to say, top of mind. But we have some big news we have to present to you this evening, so don't go anywhere. I do want to get to our answer. It was the Bobby Baker affair. You guys said Watergate.
How dare you?
Oh, man. Even Greta's pissed, guys. Yeah, it was actually the Bobby Baker affair. I think I did actually say that at the beginning. I shot in the dark, Bobby Baker. Yes, even a guess can be correct, and that's what it was. Bobby Baker affair, LBJ's secretary, Bobby Baker, was involved in influence peddling. His assistant, Nancy Carroll Tyler, died in a serious plane crash in 1965, just before she could testify. Okay, we got our next trivia question, and then we got our next topic. Autopen is right on the docket, so don't go anywhere. We got to dive into the latest with the Autopen scandal. Excuse me. Okay, so we've got just two dot. All right. Let me just make sure I got all my notes here. Okay. All right, so here's the trivia question. What device did Thomas Jefferson invent in 1804 to duplicate his signature on documents? Wow, Thomas Jefferson? A printing press, polygraph machine, a stamp pad, or a wax seal press? Well, 1804, I don't think he invented the printing press. Wasn't that like Benjamin Franklin or something? Polygraph, no. Stamp pad, maybe. Wax seal press, maybe. Well, wax seals would go way, 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 way back. I'm gonna go stamp pad. That's where I'm gonna go. Stamp it. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. You guys can weigh in the comments chat or in the poll. We'll get the answer after this segment. For 4 years, executive orders kept flowing, policies kept changing, documents kept getting signed. But here's the question nobody wanted to ask. Who was actually holding pen? Well, now we have our answer, and it's worse than you imagine. A top White House insider just took the fifth rather than tell Congress the truth. First, we have Joe Biden's doctor pleading the fifth, and now we have another. Now, the signature on our laws? Well, maybe not who you think. The decisions affecting your life made by people you never elected. This is not about Joe Biden's cognitive decline anymore. This is about a shadow government operating in plain sight. They thought they could run out the clock. Well, they thought wrong. The depositions are happening. The truth is spilling out. And what we are learning should terrify every American who still believes in our great republic. So stay tuned. This is huge. And while unelected officials were secretly running our government, they hoped that you would stay distracted. But freedom isn't just one generation from extinction. It's one education away. And that's why the Tuttle twins, they created the most effective Liberty First content for kids. This is their monthly magazine. Teaches children about economics, liberty, and responsibility through comics, activities, and real-world lessons. When shadow governments operate, informed citizens are the antidote. So right now, subscribe a loved one, a granddaughter, a grandson, a niece, a nephew, your kids, for just $56 a year. A gift that will show up in their mailbox every single month, planting seeds of liberty. TuttleTwins.com/next. Don't let your child be indoctrinated while our republic gets hijacked. Teach them to recognize tyranny, value freedom, and think for themselves. Because the Autopen scandal proves that an educated populace is our only defense. TuttleTwins.com/next, linked below. All right, so the Autopen scandal is top of mind over here at the Next News Network. Remember, KGP used to say that? while she was running cover for the Biden administration. Well, one of those individuals who was a recipient of a autopen pardon, Dr. Fauci, has just been referred to the DOJ. And then this is the tactic. This is what needs to be done. As you heard, we played a clip the other day of Roger Stone saying we need to indict these people so we can test the power of the autopen, if it actually holds any executive authority, if the president wasn't fully aware of what he was supposedly signing. So with Rand Paul stepping up and referring Fauci to the DOJ for the third time, could be the final domino to fall to test this entire theory. Now, I know you want to see Dr. Fauci in prison. I do too. After what happened in 2020 with the pandemic and the Wuhan lab, yeah, the lockdowns. I mean, I don't need to go ahead and rehash what we all lived through. Okay? That was medical tyranny. Clearly. Dr. Fauci was at the center of it all. And now Rand Paul, God bless him, has referred him to the DOJ. Let's listen.
Among Biden's pardons, top White House COVID-era spokesperson, Dr. Anthony Fauci. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul now officially is referring Fauci to the Justice Department for a third time. He says, and this is a quote, if the president didn't authorize this pardon personally, then the department has a duty to investigate and prosecute as it would any ordinary citizen. You weren't kidding when you said this had more.
Yeah, no, look, this is what happens when you have a president that did this or didn't do it. And again, these were for crimes. By the way, it's also important to point out, these were for crimes that weren't even, considered. Like, that's the unusual nature of what he did. Take out the fact that he probably didn't know what he was doing, and the autopen signed it. President Autopen signed it, not Joe Biden. So, like, you just add this on top, you heap it one thing on the other. And I think that Senator Paul's right. I actually took Rand Paul's deposition when I was Attorney General in Missouri. In the censorship case, Missouri versus Biden. My book, Last Line of Defense, outlines what happened in that deposition. Anthony Fauci should be very concerned about this. He lied to the American people about COVID. He lied about the transmissibility of the virus if you got the shot. There's a lot of liability out there for Anthony Fauci, and he probably lied to Congress. And so this could be something that the Justice Department should look at.
Okay.
Well, and Rand Paul has clearly shown multiple times, and he's even given Fauci a chance to recant his statements or correct them. Fauci refused. So here we have this Paul White Gold Eagle. Lock her up. Treason. Meet Anita Dunn. She's a communist lunatic. She worked with Obama and the Biden administration. Her husband, Robert Bauer, was partner at Perkins Coie and Obama White House counsel. Anita was an autopen gatekeeper. It explains the Biden administration, why the Biden administration went full commie. Anita Dunn, everyone.
That I turned to. And then the third lesson and tip actually come from two of my favorite political philosophers, Mao Zedong and Mother Teresa, not often coupled with each other. But the two people that I turn to most to basically deliver a simple point, which is you're going to make choices. You're going to challenge. You're going to say, why not? You're going to figure out how to do things that have never been done before. But here's the deal. These are your choices. They are no one else's. In 1947, when Mao Zedong was being challenged within his own party on his plan to basically take China over, Chiang Kai-shek and the nationalist Chinese held the cities. They had the army. They had the Air Force. They had everything on their side. And people said, how can you win? How can you do this? How can you do this? Against all of the odds against you. And Mao Zedong said, you fight your war and I'll fight mine.
Oh, is it that simple? Did Mao Zedong have an auto pen too? Here we have Congressman Byron Donalds. This morning, I attended the deposition of Anthony Bernal, Jill Biden, work husband. These are the takeaways. He says, couldn't answer a single question, refused to read his own statement. This is corruption at the highest level. Joe was not in charge of his own administration. Every order, bill, and memo is null and void. The Democrats can't hide from this. We must subpoena all Biden staff. Dr. Biden must be called to testify. Kamala Harris must also be called to testify. Oh, baby. Can you imagine Jill Biden being called to testify? Kamala Harris? Oh, man, all of them getting subpoenaed?
They both your leadership on this issue. First things first, that's just crazy. You can't answer a simple question about the former president's ability to discharge his duties, and you worked in the White House as chief of staff to the first lady, and you come in here and you plead fifth. He can say whatever he wants in his testimony, which, by the way, his attorney read. He wouldn't even read his own statement. His attorney read his statement for him. So you came in there and said that him pleading the fifth is not an admission of guilt or anything about what was going on in the Biden White House, or was to give any inkling to the fact that Joe Biden was lacking in capability. The fact that he couldn't make any statement, the fact that the White House doctor couldn't make any statement, and they both pled the fifth, which is their constitutional right to do, and we respect the Constitution like every American does, but the fact that they are now hiding behind the Constitution so that they don't have to tell the truth to the American people about Joe Biden's capabilities and mental faculties while he was president of the United States is not just shocking, it's stunning, and it demonstrates the level of corruption that was going on in that administration. The chairman is being nice. I don't have to be. This is corruption at the highest level. Because if you cannot answer a simple question about Joe Biden's capabilities, then that further demonstrates that he was not in charge of his administration. And if he was not in charge of his administration, then every order, every bill that was signed, every memorandum, as far as I'm concerned, are null and void. And congressional Democrats need to actually step into the light and not hide behind this stuff or run away from it, because everything that that administration did, as far as I'm concerned, is unlawful. If he did not have the ability to discharge his duties, then anything that he signed, or the autopen signed, or whatever, as far as I'm concerned, is null and void. And where was Kamala Harris? I'm not going to speak for the chairman, I'm going to speak for myself. As far as I'm concerned, every member of the Biden administration at this point needs to be subpoenaed. I don't care if they were a secretary, I don't care if they were a janitor working in there. They all got to come in and answer questions for this committee.
Congressman, does that include Dr. Jill Biden?
Of course. Her right-hand man, listen, Anthony Bernal is the right-hand man. That's her chief of staff. If he came in here and pled the fifth, I'm sorry. Former First Lady, she got to come in here and answer questions. This is not a, listen, that is the president's wife. I have a wife. James has a wife. Obviously, with family members, you want to do everything you can to protect your family. But if you can't answer a basic question to the mental capabilities of President Biden, then as far as I'm concerned, you now have to answer to the American people.
She's a former president. Vice President basically.
I think Kamala Harris needs to come in and tell us what she knew and when she knew it.
Mr. Chairman.
She ran for president, so she should be able to tell us what was going on.
Mr. Chairman,
oh, baby! Bombs are dropping. Here's Representative James Comer just a few hours ago. Anthony Bernal, Jill Biden's chief of staff, just invoked the Fifth Amendment during his congressional deposition. This week, new reporting confirms President Biden's aides took unauthorized executive actions during his presidency amid his cognitive decline. It's no surprise that Anthony Bernal is pleading the Fifth Amendment to shield himself from criminal liability. During his deposition today, Mr. Bernal pleaded the Fifth when asked if any unelected official or family members executed the duties of the president and if Joe Biden ever instructed him to lie about his health. This is a historic scandal, and Americans demand transparency and accountability. We will continue to pursue the truth on their behalf and examine options to get the answers that we need. Here we have the video. Anthony Bernal, Griff Jenkins posting this. Chief of Staff to Dr. Jill Biden refusing to answer questions before heading into the subpoena deposition before GOP oversight where he pled the Fifth Amendment.
Will you answer any questions today, or will you plead the Fifth?
We have comply with the
New York Times piece that your former President Biden gave New York Times?
autopen scandal grows ever deeper. Top Joe Biden aide Anthony Bernal pled the fifth. According to Comer's office, Bernal pleaded the fifth when asked if any unelected official or family members execute the duties of president if Joe Biden ever instructed him to lie about his health. I mean, that's look at that question. If asked if any unelected official or family member executed the duties of the president, unelected official or family member. Oh, I plead the fifth. Here's the official statement from Comer statement. House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform Chairman James Comer today issued the following statement after Anthony Bernal, First Lady Jill Biden's Chief of Staff, pleaded the fifth. This week, new reporting. Okay, we just read that. That was actually from his post. Here we have more. Oversight Project. Autopen scandal deserves federal investigation for both criminal and constitutional reasons. We deserve to know who the president was the last 4 years, and we deserve accountability. Here is Chanel Rion on One America News.
Crimes that relate to it makes a
interviewing
world of difference.
I'm not sure who they're interviewing here. I don't know.
Two major buckets of reason. The first is there's a lot of criminal.
Oh, okay, so I'm sorry. Chanel Rion is interviewing the Oversight Project. So let's go to the Oversight Project.
It makes a world of difference for two major buckets of reason. The first is there's a lot of criminal activity potentially there. You can't impersonate a federal official. You can't forge his signature. And with the amount of money that was flying around the White House and out of it, because that's basically how they ran the last government, was these $1 trillion spending packages where the White House doled out the money. You have potential for a lot of other crimes that relate to bribery and other things. A lot of people got money that went against the national interest that deserves scrutiny and potential criminal prosecution. And there's a lot of people who could be implicated in that. I see a massive conspiracy to hide the president's decline so that they can continue the White House rolling. The second bucket, perhaps, is even more important. It's a major constitutional issue that for 4 years we were operating in the United States of America out of order with the very basics of the Constitution, in that one person is supposed to be president and you cannot delegate away presidential authority just because the guy has malfunctioned and the staffers prefer it that way. They chose not to invoke the 25th Amendment, which clearly lays out what they should have done when they knew him to be incapacitated. They did not do that. That is a massive constitutional scandal, and we deserve to know who the president was for 4 years, and we deserve accountability. It makes the world.
Accountability is coming. James Comer on the case, especially if we have these special prosecutors assigned. Who knows where that road will lead? Here we have, this is the Fox News breaking news alert about the aide to the First Lady Jill Biden invoking the fifth.
Confidential behind closed. He took a similar tack that the doctor, the physician for Joe Biden, took last week. What was interesting about the testimony from last week is that we all thought it was confidential behind closed doors, but in the evening they released the videotape of saying, you know, on the advice of my counsel, I'm not going to answer that question. So we'll see whether or not there's a video that's produced from this testimony that probably, I guess you could say, did not happen because he answered no questions. All right, that's from D.C.
So if you have value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is constitutional treason, plain and simple. When Anthony Bernal pleads the fifth about executing presidential duties, when he won't confirm who signed your laws, when he refuses to say if he lied about Biden's health, we are not talking about staff helping an aging president. We're talking about a coup conducted with an autopen. Every executive order, every policy directive, every decision that shaped your life for 4 years may have been made by unelected handlers while the president was a puppet. Anita Dunn, the Perkins-Coy connection, the Obama loyalists, they didn't just advise, they ruled. And Congress let it happen. The courts let it happen. The media covered for it. This is why they're terrified of transparency. So here is a question. Do you believe that Biden was actually president for the last 4 years? Let's have a conversation about this in the comments below. And then grab your next news gear and show them that you are done with shadow governments and support exposing the autopen conspiracy with our exclusive t-shirt. You can see it up there on your screen. If you want to get a closer look at it, grab one for yourself, or maybe you want to support Alligator Alcatraz, or maybe one of your favorite members of the administration, or in our American Badass series. Trigger Liberal today at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Right on. Okay, so no super chats at the moment. We're at $39.98. We only need 2 pennies to hit $40 and $10 to bring us up to $50. Who is going to bring us up to $50 today? Who's going to bring us up to $60? Will it be you? If you support our reporting here, make it so. All right, let's find out the answer to our trivia question. I'm very curious as to this one, and I got it wrong. The polygraph machine. Wow. You guys said the stamp pad too.
How dare you?
Greta's pissed over there. Okay, Jefferson invented the polygraph machine to make copies of his letters as he wrote them, ensuring authentic duplicates of his correspondence. The polygraph machine. Who knew? Okay, continuing with our next multiple choice question of the evening as we move into our next topic. Which Cold War spy ring included government officials who passed secrets for over a decade? Was it A, the Cambridge Five, B, the Rosenberg ring, C, the Walker spy ring, or D, Aldrich Ames? I'm going to go with Rosenberg. I'm going to go with B on this one. I think I'm pretty confident that that's the answer. I have not looked ahead today, so I don't know. Maybe you guys have some thoughts, and you can, of course, cast your vote in the poll, in the comments, or in the chat. So don't go anywhere, because we have more big news with respect to what's happening on the big grand conspiracy. All right. Yesterday, we told you the FBI opened a grand conspiracy case. Today, the dominoes are falling faster than they can run. Adam Schiff just got hit with a criminal referral. Not for Russia lies, but for mortgage fraud. That's how they're playing this. Come for the treason, stay for the financial crimes. And Schiff is just the appetizer. The main course includes names that'll shake Washington to its core. Comey, Brennan, maybe even Obama himself. The statute of limitations thrown out the window with grand conspiracy charges. Their own emails are the evidence. Their own words are the noose. 4 years of gaslighting America about Russia collusion while they were the ones colluding to overthrow an election. The hunters have just become the hunted. Don't go anywhere. This one is good. And while the deep state actors conspired against our republic, your body has been fighting its own battle against time. Collagen production drops dramatically after 40, leading to wrinkles, sagging skin, and joint pain. But here's what they don't want you to know. You can fight back. Just like we're exposing government corruption, expose your skin to rejuvenation with ageless multi-collagen. 5 types of collagen from 4 clean sources, hydrolyzed for maximum absorption. No GMOs, no hormones, just pure collagen that actually works. Visit healthwithgary.com for 51% off, free shipping, and a free ebook on amazing skin. Plus, every order feeds a hungry child. That's healthwithgary.com, because looking younger while doing good is the ultimate revenge. Healthwithgary.com. Okay, so the Schiff is hitting the fan. What's Peter Doocy saying?
Has committed mortgage fraud, and part of the president's argument is this: I've always suspected Shifty Adam Schiff was a scam artist. Adam Schiff said that his primary residence in Maryland to get a cheaper mortgage and rip off America, but he must live in California because he was a congressman from California. And here's a quick refresher about President Trump's beef with Schiff.
He is using the department as both sword and shield, acting like a convicted felon because he is a convicted felon. The Trump administration is corrupt. No one, not even a president, is above the law.
Well, now the California lawmaker who spends a lot of time in Maryland is responding.
So the president today is accusing me of fraud, and the basis of his accusation is that I own a home in Maryland and I own a home in California. Big surprise. Members of Congress, almost all of them own more than one home or rent more than one home. We're required to be on both coasts. So he is using my ownership of two homes to make a false claim of mortgage fraud.
The president wants stiff penalties here, so we had a chance to ask, how stiff?
You say that you want Adam Schiff brought to justice.
I would love to see him brought to justice.
You deal?
I'll tell you what, I think Adam Schiff is one of the lowest of the low. I would love to see him brought to justice. He is a dishonest, crooked guy. I don't know about the individual charge, if that even happens, but Adam Schiff is a serious lowlife.
The New York Post first reported that Schiff barely spent any time in California because he was always at this Maryland house 3 years ago. Back to you.
Yeah, so I guess one of the things was that they said that they listed as his primary residence, Peter. That was it, and you can't do that.
Oh,
yes, and the longer version of President Trump's Truth Social is very, very detailed. The specific dates that certain boxes were checked on mortgage applications. But yes, the president is accusing Schiff of saying that Maryland was his primary residence when he was running to represent California, which the president thinks.
Peter, remember the same thing happened here in New York. Letitia James, our AG, she was accused of doing the same thing. A residence in Virginia, and she allegedly was claiming that as her primary residence, yet she was the AG here.
And we have no idea what's going to happen with this, but at a minimum, President Trump elevating this is going to mean a lot of paperwork probably for Adam Schiff over the next couple weeks or months.
What a shame. Peter, thanks so much.
Well, they went after.
What a shame. Oh, yes. Here we have Gunter Eagleman. The criminal referral on Adam Schiff has been obtained by Laura Ingram, and you wouldn't believe what they're alleging. Let's listen to what Laura has to say.
For Democrat administration is corrupt. No one, not even a president, is above the law.
Well, we have a Fox News alert. The Angle has exclusively obtained the criminal referral for Democrat Senator Adam Schiff. It shows the underlying conduct described could result in claims of mortgage fraud. The referral submitted to DOJ by Housing Director Bill Pulte alleges that Schiff has, in multiple instances, falsified bank documents and property records to acquire more favorable loan terms, impacting payments from 2003 to 2019 for a Potomac, Maryland-based property. Schiff owns a home in California and another in Maryland. Well, perhaps, when the Democrats decided to have Mr. High and Mighty Adam Schiff head an impeachment witch hunt against Trump, they should have done their due diligence, not just on their absurd allegations, but on their own chairman. With us to analyze is Jonathan Fahey, former federal prosecutor.
You know, we covered this as it was breaking a couple of weeks ago. I'm glad to see the criminal referrals are finally coming to light. Let's see, Chicago one right. Every one of these traitors were in on the Russiagate conspiracy. This is treason. When is Obama and Comey and the rest of them going to stand trial for it? Definitely want to see it. Here's more. Adam Schiff been referred by mortgage giant Fannie Mae to the DOJ for mortgage fraud. Adam Schiff is going to get a little appetizer of justice before the main course of treason.
We're a big update for you on reporting we did here at Just the News last October around California Senator Adam Schiff, the man behind Russia collusion, remember him? And a concern about mortgage fraud concerns. Last year, we reported that Senator Schiff had repeatedly declared in mortgage filings that two of his homes, one in California, one in Maryland, were both in his primary residences. And that is a problem because Americans are only allowed to claim one primary residence, which is the home that they live in the majority of the year. Claiming both homes as his primary residence ended up netting the senator some great benefits like lower mortgage interest rates, tax advantages, and the ability to run for the House in California. Now, fast forward to today, and the president is now speaking about it. Why? Because Fannie Mae, the mortgage has concluded there's a reason to believe his conduct, that is Adam Schiff's conduct, was mortgage fraud. They made a referral to the Justice Department on Truth Social this morning. President talked about it, and then he gave some comments about it in response to a question by Real America's Voice's own Brian Glenn. Take a listen.
First, Letitia James, alleged mortgage fraud. Now we have Adam Schiff allegedly committed mortgage fraud at all. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I just saw it, and I think the thing with Adam Schiff is very serious, and I think what they have on Letitia James is very serious. That's a very, very serious situation. But I have to leave that up to the district attorneys and to the prosecutors and to the attorney general, most importantly. And Adam Schiff looks very serious. Look, he's a sleazeball. Everybody knows it. And I was a little surprised. I thought he would have covered his bases a little bit better than that. Adam Schiff is a lowlife. He deserves what he gets.
Wow, no subtlety in that answer, but an important one. Go back and check our story out from October. We have it up on the site. We also have the latest coverage today. And Democrats do have a mortgage problem. Remember, beyond Letitia James being under investigation now, Adam Schiff, Carol Mosby, the state attorney, Democrat state attorney in Baltimore, also was convicted in a mortgage fraud case about a year ago. So this is a growing problem. Amanda, watch what happens. You go around, you come around. And here's another little twist. Remember that Joe Biden, I think, put Adam Schiff on the parts. You know what Adam Schiff can't do in any proceeding before the Justice Department now?
Claim the Fifth.
He can't take the Fifth Amendment.
That's right.
Yeah, so fate has a funny way of turning itself around.
Isn't it funny also that Adam Schiff even realizes how bad the housing market is in California? That he has to try to get breakthrough.
That's a good point. I thought a big update for you.
Oh, wow. We got this. Karen Bass raising money for illegal immigrants is treason. Let's hear what Tim Pool's take is on that. We just covered this a couple days ago.
Force on our country. Guys, you know, on this show, I often refrain and I argue as hard as possible that people are not committing treason. They say, oh, you know, that Democrat did this or that lawyer committed treason. And I'm like, no, treason is adhering to the enemies of the United States. What most people are referring to with like Comey and these investigations is sedition, trying to undermine or overthrow the government. Treason is when you betray your country to foreign individuals, to enemies of the United States. Mayor Karen Bass has announced that she will be partnering with private individuals to give money to illegal immigrants that are here illegally and that are currently trying to evade federal law enforcement. Now, Trump has already declared an invasion. He has targeted these marijuana farms. There's concerns about child slave labor. They recovered, I think it might be either 14 or 20 child slaves working on these farms. Trump saying, we're going to send in law enforcement and shut this down. Strong likelihood that there is an overlap between these narco gangs, these cartels. And now we're hearing Karen Bass says she's going to give them cash, quite literally to the letter of the law. That is treason. And I don't say that lightly, but I don't have another word for it. When Donald Trump, the president of the United States, declares an invasion and says, these people are an invasive force on our country, we are going to start deporting these narco demonstrators, et cetera. This is the first step over the line where a politician is providing funding and resources to individuals by which Trump has already said we are being invaded. Guys, you know.
And what do they call that? Giving aid and comfort to the enemy. Here we have this from Harrison Smith. Trump fired USAID workers, so they decided to commit treason.
Fired USAID bureaucrats warn Trump of coming regime change. A very particular set of skills. Fired USAID and other government workers used to working in authoritarian countries are quietly building a resistance to Trump with their backgrounds very much in mind. Quote, you just released a bunch of well-trained individuals into your population, one currently employed federal official involved in these efforts told Notice. If you kept our offices going and had us play solitaire in the office, it might have been safer to keep your regime. So the State Department and the USAID, who have for the last several decades hidden their regime change operations under the guise of charity and humanitarian prospects, are apparently taking the knowledge and the skills that they've learned and employed in authoritarian places around the world and are now working on regime change here at home. Fired State Department bureaucrats reportedly using their regime change skills to sabotage Trump. but right-wingers are the threat to democracy. Right-wingers are the violent ones. Right-wingers, the authoritarian ones. We're dealing with a subversion that is like beyond understanding, to where it's like...
I mean, think about what's happening here. Karen Bass fired USAID workers, everyone working against the interests of the United States. But there is more. Oh, yes, my friends. We have, let me see here. Let's get to the grand conspiracy that is now unfolding. John Solomon, new evidence shows U.S. intel had proof. Buckle up. U.S. intel had proof of Hillary's criminality before Comey cleared her. They knew her Russia collusion story was a ruse to smear Trump. If this gets declassified, it would finally blow the whole thing wide open. Now, why are we still talking about Hillary Clinton? Because we must have justice. And it's buffering.
Just on Hillary Clinton's email that reveals that the United States intelligence community got new evidence of possible criminality in the Hillary Clinton email scandal, but did not pursue it just before James Comey cleared her of all criminal wrongdoing. That has stayed secret for 8 years. Chuck Grassley, the Senate Judiciary Committee chairman, has been relentlessly pursuing it. He has President Trump's ear. I think that's going to get declassified in the next few days. That will show that there was reason to pursue Hillary Clinton, not clear her, and not pursue Donald Trump. They should have not ever investigated him for Russia collusion. The second piece of classified evidence that could be released is referred to by John Durham as the Clinton Plan intelligence. It's an intercept 5 days before the FBI opened up on Crossfire Hurricane that Hillary Clinton was about to concoct a Russian scandal and try to pretend that Vladimir Putin was helping Donald Trump win the election. That means that the CIA, the FBI, and President Obama himself personally was aware that what Hillary Clinton was doing was a ruse, a political dirty trick, and still James Comey's FBI opened up on the information. If those two pieces of evidence get declassified so grand jurors can see it, Pam Bondi names a special prosecutor. We'll be rolling by the end of this week.
We could be rolling by the end of the week. President Trump discussing the grand conspiracy case in an interview with Real America's Voice with Just the News' John Solomon and Amanda Head. Listen.
We straightened.
Opened a grand conspiracy case looking at the last decade of weaponization against you and the protection of Democrats like Hunter Biden and Hillary Clinton as one ongoing criminal conspiracy. I want to ask what you think of that approach and whether you think a special prosecutor might be warranted.
Well, I'm happy that they did that. I don't know much about it, but it deserves to be done. It was a disgrace what happened. And what happened in 2016 and what happened in 2020. It's a disgraceful situation, and our voting has to be straightened out. I always say, if you don't have borders, if you don't have fair and free voting, you don't have a country. And we have disgraceful voting that they spend all of this money on voting, and some of the votes don't come back for weeks later. The whole thing it's a scam, and we have to straighten it out.
For all the things that have happened, there's the Russia collusion against you, there is Jack Smith against you, there's all the things that happened in 2020, not investigating China interference in the 2020 election. Where do you think, what are the things that are most important that you would like to see the FBI get to the bottom of?
I think they could look at all of it. It's all the same scam. They could look at this Jeffrey Epstein hoax also, because that's the same stuff. It's all put out by Democrats.
Yeah.
And, some of the naive Republicans fall right into line like they always do. They just don't have the sustainability. They don't have they don't have that stick to it like glue. The Democrats, they have bad policy. They have bad candidates. They have bad everything. But they stick together. The Republicans don't do that. They ought to look at.
But we do need to stick together now. We need to get behind our president, especially with respect to the appointment of special counsel for all of these things. From Russiagate, 2016, 2020, Epstein, all of it. Here's more from John Solomon on the grand conspiracy.
Later. The theme of tonight's show is accountability, and we are starting to get some recently. Our new reporting up at justthenews.com says that the FBI has opened what they are calling a grand conspiracy probe on the weaponization of government and the Department of Justice, dealing with everything from the Russian collusion hoax back in 2016 right up to Jack Smith's antics nearly a decade later. It will be investigated as a possible ongoing criminal conspiracy. A lot of things happen with that. Now, the investigation was opened several weeks ago by FBI Director Kash Patel, and now it might get a big-time boost from President Trump. They need him to declassify tranches of evidence that could signal how the 2016 Russia collusion conspiracy started. We're going to try to see if we can get President Trump on the show tomorrow night. We'll keep you posted up. Now, remember Hillary?
And of course he did get him on the show. Here we have more. Florida's Voice reporting on the grand conspiracy allows for the circumventing of the statute of limitations on matters of government weaponization and lawfare. Florida's Voice
launched a grand
Florida's Voice, Drew Steele, here.
Criminal conspiracy investigation into what was the weaponization of the federal government that is in decades in the making, that is doing something that people didn't expect, circumventing the statute of limitations, because everybody has been saying, well, what are we going to do? I mean, it's been so many years, the statute of limitations. Where can we go with this? John Solomon last night on Hannity's program was talking about exactly where we're going with this. This is big news, everybody.
Yeah, and Barack Obama, too, because he was in on these early meetings. So what the FBI has done is treated the last decade of weaponization, all the great work that James Comer has turned up through his oversight committee, and put it into a timetable and said, this looks like an ongoing conspiracy, a wash, rinse, repeat cycle of Democrat gets in legal trouble. Hillary Clinton in her email case, Hunter Biden with his taxes, Joe Biden with his classified documents. Are let off the hook even when there is extraordinary evidence suggesting they shouldn't be left off the hook. And a parallel track occurs where the Republican, in this case Donald Trump, is investigated falsely for things like Russia collusion, Ukrainian interference, his own documents at his home in Mar-a-Lago. This is a criminal conspiracy. By treating it as a conspiracy, you eliminate the 5-year statutes on it.
Ooh, my... Did you hear that? It eliminates the 5-year statute of limitations by calling it a grand criminal conspiracy. But it gets better, everybody. It gets better. Listen to this last part from the great John Solomon at Just the News. Listen to this.
Individual crimes. If something happened in 2016, but it was part of an ongoing conspiracy that continued with Jack Smith raiding Donald Trump's home at Mar-a-Lago, it can be charged in the larger conspiracy, even though if you tried to charge it in an individual case, you wouldn't get it. Furthermore, you could also change the venue. Remember the troubles John Durham had bringing prosecutions in Washington, D.C.? Jurors wouldn't convict, even if they thought there was criminality going on. In this case, you could pick a place like Florida.
Oh, hold on a second. Ding. Yes. So because Jack Smith and all of the things that were happening with the raid on Mar-a-Lago, the DOJ, and what they did to Trump, and because they went into Mar-a-Lago next to the Florida case, that means the case can be made right here. And how about that? He's launched a...
Oh, man. They screwed themselves big time when they decided to go after President Trump. It's all coming home to roost. Justice is coming. Spotzel posts, Ash in America, on the grand conspiracy. We have proof of the meeting of the minds in their own emails. The evidence against Brennan topples the globalist regime. Let's check this out.
In a conspiracy. So remember what John Solomon has said about this case, this grand conspiracy case. There was multiple overt acts in the conspiracy, and each one of those impacts the timeline. The autopen is on that list. The Steele dossier is on that list. That's like 4 years. It's a span of 4 years, or even, it's even more. No, it's about 4 years between those two events. Overt acts in a conspiracy. Conspiracies, meeting of the minds to engage in criminal conduct. And we have the actual meeting of the minds because we have their emails on both of those. overt acts in a criminal conspiracy. The Steele dossier, and the 51 former intelligence letter about the Hunter Biden laptop. Both of those things are overt conspiracies. They knew both of them weren't true. They knew the Steele dossier wasn't true. They knew the Hunter Biden laptop was in fact Hunter Biden's laptop, right? But they engaged in a conspiracy to defraud the American people and undermine the president of the United States. And we have the meeting of the minds for both of those things. And the organizer on both of those things appears to be John Brennan.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. And I'm part of why I'm so excited about this case, this grand conspiracy case, is that we have seen the evidence that will convict. And conspiracy cases are notoriously hard because people don't usually keep records of their meeting of the minds to engage in criminal conduct. People usually destroy that shit, but these people were so cocky, and government retention being what it is, they played themselves, and they're caught. And the investigators have the information about how they're caught. I believe Trump when in 2017, he said, I caught them all. They spied on my campaign. We caught them all. No one else could have done that but me. Let's see what happens. Well, we're seeing what happens. And taking down a global criminal shadow governing cabal is a pretty big RICO. It's bigger than the Gambino family. That took like 20 years to get to meaningful arrests. So people need to chill the fuck out and stop reacting to every headline about whatever op you think is being swept under the rug, because you're about to get everything that you want if what you want is justice. So remember what John Solomon...
Well, what we want is Matt Gaetz on the case. In case of emergency, break glass. It's time to break some glass, friends. Don't ask how, just listen up. Something big is coming down the tracks. John Solomon didn't just speculate, he confirmed it. The DOJ and FBI have been quietly building a massive criminal conspiracy case against the deep state. It covers the full window from 2016 to 2024, targeting the sabotage of Trump from the very beginning. Pam Bondi may be days away from naming a special prosecutor that will allow indictments to be brought outside of D.C. Florida's in play that changes the jury pool and battlefield. Here's the part nobody in the media wants to touch. The Epstein network is reportedly connected to the case, not just for the island crimes, but because people linked to Epstein allegedly used blackmail and leverage to help drive the lawfare against Trump. Some of those names are powerful and still active. Trump trusts the full list now could cause chaos and derail the entire case. That's why he's hiding it or holding it, not to protect the guilty, but to protect the investigation. And here's the twist. And we reported this as it happened. Matt Gaetz flew into D.C. this weekend, reportedly at Trump's personal request. He skipped a major turning point event and instead took a private meeting with the president. Some insiders say Gaetz may be under consideration as a special prosecutor. That would be a lightning strike. Now, of course, Matt Gaetz came out and said, no, I wasn't summoned by anybody. But, of course, classic misdirection. They're not showing their hand. He's not showing his hand. Trump, Bondi, and Gaetz are all playing roles behind the scenes. If this flips, it won't just be payback. It'll be exposure on a historic level. Watch the next 14 to 21 days. If a special prosecutor is named and the indictments move to Florida, you will know this is the real deal. They tried to destroy Trump with hoaxes, lawfare, and lies. Now the trap is set, and it is springing on them. Drain the swamp isn't just a phrase. It is happening. Matt Gaetz, you are being summoned, sir. You are being summoned. Bring the hammer of justice with you. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So justice delayed is justice denied, except when it comes to treason. The grand conspiracy investigation changes everything. No more hiding behind statutes of limitation. No more, that was years ago, excuses. The FBI has the emails proving a coordinated meeting of minds to destroy Trump's presidency before it began. USAID workers committing actual treason by leaking classified docs after being fired. Karen Bass fundraising for illegals and paying them while Americans suffer. Joy Reid, of course, having deranged rants, calling you a cult. Okay, it's all connected by one thread, the systematic betrayal of the American Republic. And now Schiff's mortgage fraud, just the first card to fall. When criminals run the justice system, paperwork crimes become their downfall. Just ask Al Capone about his taxes. The storm that they mocked is here, and it has subpoena power. So here's the question. Should Obama be investigated for his role in Russiagate? Let's have a conversation. Drop a yes or no in the comments below, and then check out our merch shop. Wear your truth with pride. You can help us expose the autopen scandal with our President autopen shirt. You guys will love it. Go check it out. You got to see a close-up of it. It's amazing. And, of course, you want to support Alligator Alcatraz? You can do so. Wear your shirt with pride. Or you could pick one of your favorite members of the administration, whoever it may be, in our American Badass collection. It is all at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. It's linked below where you can trigger a liberal today. Boom, baby. Well done, sir. Well done. Well done. Okay, we have, that was for you, Todd. And then Pothead Kenny says, oh wait, our Boyd, $10. No matter what happens with the release of the files, we'll never get them all behind bars, unfortunately. That's true. Some will slip through the cracks. But we got to get some of them, right? $5. Thank you, our Boyd. Oh, no, $10. My bad. $10 for that. Much appreciated, sincerely. We are at $74.98. We only need about $25 and 2 pennies to get us up over $100. That includes Pothead Kenny here. What's up, Pothead Kenny? I hear you have a birthday coming up. I love y'all. God bless the Franchi family, Yepers, and trust Trump. He's smarter than the Dems. $5 from Pothead Kenny. We missed you last night. Heard you were with a friend. And, well, that's what true friends do. When friends are in crisis, you go and console them. So, beautiful thing you did there. And then we have Sharon Johnson, $20. What's up? Show the money. Show me the money. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We aren't doing that around here. Certainly not. Okay, let's see what our answer was. Oh, damn. You guys said it was B, the Rosenberg ring. I said it was B.
How dare you?
Yeah. Greta's pissed that we were wrong, guys. Okay, the Cambridge 5 was the answer. The Soviet spy ring operated at the highest levels of British intelligence from the 1930s to the 1960s, proving how deep state treachery can last for decades. I didn't think about the British intelligence. I was thinking American intelligence. That's why I said the Rosenbergs. That's why you said the Rosenbergs. But the answer was a little bit more broad than I'd expected. Okay, moving right along to our next subject of the evening and our next historical multiple choice question. Which 1913 law created the Federal Reserve after a secret meeting on Jekyll Island? Did you know that Brian, yes, your famous producer of this show, our technical advisor, the one, he's basically like, he's like the Wizard of Oz. He's the man behind the curtain. That's Brian. Brian and I actually went to Jekyll Island with G. Edward Griffin and a whole cast of characters. And we actually we had lunch in the very room where they conspired to create the Federal Reserve with Ed Griffin. What an amazing experience that was. We all signed an official document. Oh, that was an awesome experience, wasn't it, Brian? What about when we all got a little saucy? You know, there's like a speakeasy bar underneath the hotel at the Jekyll Island Resort. It's really cool. And we were drinking a little bit. And somebody took the Jekyll Island flag and they climbed the roof of the Jekyll Island Resort. They took the Don't Tread on Me flag, and they went to the top of the Jekyll Island Hotel and they stole the flag and replaced it with the Don't Tread on Me flag. We have a picture of it. Me and Brian share it occasionally. It's a beautiful photograph of the Don't Tread on Me flag flying high over Jekyll Island. Okay, anyway. Memory lane. Which 1913 law created the Federal Reserve after a secret meeting on Jekyll Island? Was it A, Glass-Steagall Act, B, Federal Reserve Act, C, Banking Act, or D, Currency Act? Well, I'm not going to give the answer away because I'm pretty sure I know it. I'm pretty sure you guys will get the answer as well. You can cast your vote in the poll or in the chat or in the comments. Now moving right along, speaking of the Federal Reserve, we've been tracking a Fed scandal for days now, and now it's reaching critical mass. Jerome Powell thought he could hide $2.5 billion in mysterious renovations, but he thought wrong. Bill Pulte just made it official. He's demanding a forensic audit of every penny. What? An audit of the Federal Reserve? Well, at least this building project, at least. Trump's response, Powell's firing is now inevitable. But this goes deeper than a simple construction project. Well, America can't afford homes. Powell built himself a palace. While your savings evaporated through inflation, he was playing interior decorator with billions of dollars. Representative Paulina Luna says the termination is imminent. Treasury Secretary Bessent confirms they're already vetting replacements. The Federal Reserve's century-long grip on America's wealth is slipping, and what they're desperately trying to hide in those renovated walls might just end the Fed forever. Keep on watching. Well, the Fed was secretly burning through $2.5 billion of your money. Your joints were secretly breaking down as well. Chronic pain affects millions, but Big Pharma's solution is addiction and side effects. So here's what they don't want you knowing. Canalidine naturally optimizes your body's own painkillers, your endorphins, providing full body relief without dangerous pills. Over 1 million Americans, that's right, and hundreds of UFC fighters already use it. After 14 years of clinical research, it's proven safe, legal, worldwide, and it's non-addictive. Just like we're exposing Fed corruption, expose yourself to real relief. Try Canalidine for less than $1 per day. TryCano.com/NNN. It's linked down below. You have nothing to lose but your pain, and Powell has everything to lose but his job. All right, moving right into our topic here. President Trump has the legal authority. Let's recap. President Trump has the legal authority to fire Jerome Powell.
You know, I think the president has the authority to fire him. Others disagree.
But
if he was fired,
I believe he's violated the National Capital Planning Act, which, gives him for cause. This is just my view. So I think he's got all the legal rights in the world. That'll all be up to the president and his lawyers. But we'll see what happens. This building gets worse by the day, Laura.
I think
worse by the day. Here's President Trump just a few hours ago on Jerome Powell. Listen.
Everything else is so strong, we're bullying through the rates, the high interest rates. The housing market would boom if this, numbskull, he's a numbskull. And if this guy can you imagine, we're talking about housing, he's building a building, he's building an addition, I guess for more people to tell him what to do, and he's always wrong. They had 71 different geniuses that they interviewed and that were put up. You probably saw that. I did. And with predictions. And the only one that got it right was me and one other person. 69 were wrong. This guy got it wrong, and he wants to put in thousands of additional people to tell him what to say. I mean, how many people do you need? Read a newspaper and make your own decision, right?
Sir, are you thinking of removing him, or do you think he resigns before his term's out, Jerome Powell?
I love if he wants to resign, that would be up to him. They say it would disrupt the market if I did, but, there are many people who say he should be removed because of the fraud of what he's doing at the Fed with regard to the $2.5 billion. He's spending $2.5 billion to I guess it's a renovation. I don't know.
That's all it is. It's just a renovation.
I'm very good at that stuff. I should go look at it at least. I feel,
yeah, we got a story up on it today. It's crazy.
Absolutely.
The building costs less to build than it's cost to renovate. It's insane. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like one of the most expensive buildings in the world. He's putting all sorts of parks on the top of the building and this, that. And I guarantee the contractors are making a fortune. No, this is not a guy. This is a guy who was recommended. He was recommended to me by Mnuchin, and he worked out good.
Yeah.
Everything.
Trump Federal Housing Director Bill Pulte officially requests a tour. This is breaking 8 hours ago. A tour of the Fed renovations costing $2.5 billion. $2.5 billion renovation at the Federal Reserve. What do? They just turn on the printing presses and just say, all right, just spit out the money. Just spit it out. Just turn on the presses, guys. We need $2.5 billion. We need some new marble staircases and rooftop fountains and golden toilets. Requesting a tour of the Fed renovation costed $2.5 billion after Trump says Jerome Powell could be removed if he committed fraud. As someone with deep experience in construction, I'm requesting to tour the Fed building and the new ridiculous renovation, which I believe are riddled with fraud. Yep. And, oh, Powell, man. Construction entrance at the Fed. $2.5 billion. That's crazy. Here we have more John Solomon discussing his sit-down with the president.
Grand conspiracy. Yeah, listen, this is the first time we've laid it out since the interview occurred this morning, and everyone can see it at 6 o'clock. But here's what he says. The president only learned recently about the grand conspiracy case. That's what I call it. It's not the real name of it. But the fact that Kash Patel had opened a conspiracy case treating the last decade of weaponization as an ongoing conspiracy, from clearing Hillary, pursuing Trump on Russiagate, trying to protect Hunter Biden, doing Ukraine impeachment, protecting Biden from the Chinese plot to help him win the 2020 election. The FBI turns a blind eye to that.
Okay, so he's talking about, if you want to get more background, if you're not familiar with the grand conspiracy case, go and take a look at the other video we did. We've been covering it since the news broke. We've got a couple reports on it, so make sure to go get caught up on that.
Joe Biden finds classified documents. Oh, we better get a camera on Donald Trump to negate that. Looking at that as one ongoing conspiracy, which has a lot of benefits. You can go back and charge old crimes in an ongoing conspiracy. You can also take this case and move it out of Washington, D.C. and bring it to Florida, because one of the overt acts of the conspiracy would have been raiding Donald Trump's house. The president didn't know about that because the FBI doesn't normally brief a president on things. But when we broke that story, the president heard about it, learned about it, and he said, hey, I like the idea. I think it's a good way of looking at what happened, and maybe we finally get some accountability because we don't get any. And then, without any prompting, without me even asking yet, he says, I also think if that has a special prosecutor, that prosecutor should just look at anything credible about Jeffrey Epstein, and let's get this resolved. Let's get the American people the most transparency. Now, what does that mean? If there's a special prosecutor, this gets out of Pam Bondi's hands. It goes to an independent person. They look at it. They release what they can about it, and they tell the American people whatever grand jury can squeeze out of it. Now,
is that special prosecutor? All the rumors are pointing to Matt Gaetz.
I've done tons of reporting on Epstein. The Wall Street Journal and I have probably been the most prolific at doing this, going back to 18, 17. Miami Herald did some great work too. I think people are going to be disappointed what's in the government files, not because there probably wasn't good stuff to be had, but because the government did a crappy job investigating this. The Bush Justice Department in 07 and 08 could have gotten Jeffrey Epstein and made one of the largest scandals in American history. They gave him a pass, and they did it in the most cowardly ways. Let the state do it. They took a pass, and they didn't take the time to go get the sort of things that would have been explosive evidence, like a ledger or an accounting of what happened. And so Trump finally starts pursuing in 19. The FBI says Epstein kills himself in the jail. I think even when a special prosecutor gets into this, the government did such a poor job on this, we're all going to be a little disappointed. That said, the fact that the president is willing to let a special prosecutor look at this tells you that he wants the base, he wants all of America to have confidence in the final findings. And I think that this is a big moment, a big announcement for President Trump. Organic, sort of happened. I followed him. So you sure you're saying you're okay with a special prosecutor look at Epstein? Yep, that's what I'm saying. Let's go do it. Let's also look at everything else. Because, hey, Democrats, you want a special prosecutor on Epstein? You got it. But we're also going to look at him. And we're going to look at James Comey and John Brennan and Jack Smith. And so I think the president has laid out something that I assume Pam Bondi will quickly follow up on. It's a big moment. Yeah, listen.
Yes, a very big moment indeed. And it's all happening right now. Let's keep going. Jerome Powell's firing is imminent. Representative Paulina Luna says Jerome Powell is going to be fired. Firing is imminent. Powell is a fraud. Nick Sartor writes, Powell is a fraud who lied to Congress. Fire him and restore the home buying markets. Here is more just a few hours ago in the Oval Office. President Trump on Jerome Powell.
And do you have plans, or if you're back considering firing Jerome Powell? And what's your justification if you're thinking about this to do this?
Too late. He's always been too late. Hence his nickname, Too Late. He should have cut interest rates a long time ago. Europe has cut them 10 times in the short period of time, and we cut them. The only time he cut them was just before the election to try and help Kamala or Biden, whoever the hell it was, because nobody really knew. Obviously, that didn't work, but he tried to cut them for the Democrats, Kamala. And how did that work out? You'll tell me. It didn't work out too well, did it? But he's I think he does a terrible job. He's costing us a lot of money. And we fight through it. It's almost, the country's become so successful that it doesn't have a big impact. But it does hurt people wanting to get a mortgage. People want to buy a house. He's a terrible Fed chair. I was surprised he was appointed. I was surprised, frankly, that Biden put him in and extended him. But they did. So, no, we're not planning on doing anything. We're very concerned. He's doing a little renovation for $2.5 billion of the Fed, building a renovation, and they have a close to $900 million cost overrun. And it's a shame. But the biggest cost overrun is the cost overrun for interest rates, because we should be paying 3 points lower, and we would save $1 trillion a year in interest if that were the case. And all it is the stroke of a pen. And that goes for his board, too, because his board is not doing the job, because they should try and rein this guy in. So he's doing a lousy job. But no, I'm not talking about that. Fortunately, we get to make a change in the next, 8 months or so. And we'll pick somebody that's good, and we'll pick somebody. I just want a fair job. We want to see lower interest rates. Our country deserves it. We're making a lot of money. We're doing great as a country. We have no inflation, record stock market, record business, record everything. Everything's a record now. We had the worst inflation in history under Biden, and now we have almost no inflation. We've done a great job, and we should have the interest rates cut.
Let's go. Let's cut those rates. Let's get that housing market moving again. Okay, so everyone's asking who's the next Fed chair. Here's the president on that in the Oval Office.
They're not true.
So, Mr. President, there's lots of reports coming into this meeting that you planned on firing Fed Chair Jay Powell. Markets reacted.
Is that right? Those are reports, but they're not true.
So what would be useful to know, are you committed to picking someone from the outside? You're going to interview individuals that are
so
on the
many
board
people
right
that
now?
want the job. I have people that I've known a long time. They're calling me, begging for the job. You know what you need there? A smart person with common sense, but you need a very smart person for that job. I think it's one of the easiest jobs in government. You show up once a month and you make a statement about where the economy's going, and we're going to raise or lower interest rates. It's probably the easiest job I've ever seen. That's why I'm trying to figure, why does he want to expand and add more people? He's going to add more economists to tell him what to do. But the economists, I was right. All the economists were wrong. They admitted it. They admitted it this morning. Quiet.
Quiet. Gotta love President Trump, man. Okay, continuing right on, Jerome Powell has come under fire from the White House over the Fed's $2.5 billion building revolution. Pulte is calling for an audit and says there may be enough to terminate him for cause. Check this out.
$2.5 billion. Are you calling for an audit to happen on the renovations? There needs to be an audit on the renovations at the Federal Reserve. I think people need to in a bipartisan fashion, call for an audit. We have $2.5 billion. Who spends $2.5 billion on a renovation? I mean, I couldn't even think about how to do that. I mean, you know how many movie theaters you'd have to put in it and all kinds of spas and pools and hot tubs and everything? I mean, you'd have to really come up with some crazy stuff to spend $2.5 billion. So it smells to high heaven, and I think Jerome Powell's going to resign. And if he doesn't, I think there's enough there for cause to terminate him.
There's enough there for cause to terminate him. They want to audit the renovation. I think when they're done with the audit of the renovation, audit the Fed. Here is the Secretary of Treasury, Scott Bessent, says a formal process has started to identify Jerome Powell's replacement.
That's when the interview process. You said previously the interview process would begin later on in the fall. There's been plenty of speculation as to whether that process would be brought forward. Mr. Secretary, do you still, as far as you understand, believe that's when the interview process to replace the Fed chair will begin in the fall, or has a formal process already started?
Well, look, there's a formal process that's already starting. There are a lot of great candidates. And we'll see how rapidly it progresses. It's President Trump's decision, and it will move at his speed.
If you remember the cabinet meeting a couple days ago, President Trump looked across the table at the Treasury Secretary and said, "You'd make a good Fed chair." He might be looking at the next Fed chair right there. And moving right along, we got some more news on this front, continuing with I believe we have here is this, the defunding of NPR and PBS. NPR, speaking of audit, NPR subsequently issued an editor's note warning that the Declaration of Independence is a document that contains offensive language. There's the editor's note. This story quotes the U.S. Declaration of Independence, a document that contains offensive language about Native Americans, including a racial slur. Yeah. That is the NPR. That's NPR. National Public Radio, funded by your tax dollars, saying the U.S. Declaration is offensive. Here we have the CEO of PBS, Rapid Response, posting this 7 hours ago. Says she can't make any sense of an argument that we are somehow biased in any way on public broadcasting. Luckily, we have plenty of examples of the biased trash that passes at news on PBS and NPR. Rapid Response posting a thread. Oh boy. Oh, shall I dive deep into this? I don't know. But PBS, public broadcasting system, also paid for by your tax dollars. No argument, no bias.
So I asked them for examples. People often struggle to come up with examples of what really they're talking about. So we're always interested, obviously, in making sure that we're serving a multiplicity of viewpoints. Bill Buckley made his home on public broadcasting with a series called Firing Line, which continues today with Margaret Hoover. We are interested in having different perspectives that we bring forward. But when I look at the range of our programmings on public broadcasting, I can't make any sense of an argument that we are somehow biased in any way. I asked them for example.
Shall we dive deeper? Okay, fine. We'll dive a little deeper here. PBS staff use 162 variations of far-right labels and only 6 far-left labels, an astounding ratio of 27-1, according to Newsbusters. One study found that the so-called gender ideology stories PBS NewsHour dedicate 90% plus of the airtime to leftist views. Nothing independent about PBS. Then PBS White House correspondent Yamashi Alcindor. Oh, I've had my moments with her in the press room. Characterized President Trump's patriotic 2020 Mount Rushmore speech as a love letter to white resentment that promoted the myth of America. Your tax dollars paying for this.
We founded this country. I think what we're seeing is a president who's determined to fly in the face of the experts and his own health officials, environmental experts, as well as people who are saying that there's really a myth of America, that this idea that America treated people well, that they treated men and women equally, that we founded this country just by our own wit, that is actually a lie, and that in fact what we're seeing is a celebration of America's independence on land that was stolen from Native Americans. And it's being seen and overlooked by two presidents, their figures rather, that owned slaves, and a third president in Roosevelt who talked about going westward and who oversaw the desecration of native lands. That's why you saw so many people in this country, especially people of color, look really, really disturbed when the president and then candidate Trump started saying "Make America Great Again." He's really fitting in this history that is in some ways Republican history about the idea that
I've had enough. PBS produced an entire movie celebrating a transgender teenager's so-called changing gender identity called Real Boy back in 2017. I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, this is one heck of a thread put by Rapid Response. It is straight up biased reporting over there. Jasmine Crockett enters the chat. We need USAID to fund Sesame Street in Iraq to prevent people from being radicalized against us. Oh, Sesame Street in Iraq.
World, or when you start to talk about whether or not Sesame Street or anything else that's on NPR or PBS ends up in other places, this is so that there is not this warped thought process about the Western world or about the United States. We're talking about making sure that we don't end up allowing people to be radicalized against us because they have a terrible vision of us, because they may be in a government that actually puts out bad, terrible propaganda about us. When you start to talk about whether or not...
Okay, Jasmine. Taxpayers should not be forced to fund far-left propaganda. Call and tell your senators to support President Trump's rescissions package. Defund PBS and NPR. Here is 24 hours ago, Speaker Mike Johnson on NPR and PBS discussing them being properly defunded. Check it out.
And to be so, the NPR and PBS components this is in our view the misuse of taxpayer dollars. They're biased reporting. They're not objective. They pretend to be so. They have for a long time, and the people don't need to fund that. I mean, we're in an age of you all know, you work in the industry. I mean, media is so multifaceted now. There's so many avenues and areas for information, and while at its origination, NPR and PBS might have made some sense. And maybe it does now, but it shouldn't be subsidized by taxpayers. So these are simple questions to answer for us. The House is acting appropriately, and I hope the Senate will do the same. I urge them, as I always do, to please keep the product unamended, because we have a narrow margin and we got to pass it. But we're going to process whatever they send us whenever they send us, and I'm hopeful that it'll be soon.
What's this say? Defund NPR, defund PBS, audit the Fed. These are all things I can get behind. Can you? If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. It's time for my final thought. This isn't just about firing one bad Fed chair. It's about exposing a century of monetary manipulation. When Powell spends $2.5 billion on renovations, while you can't afford groceries, that's not incompetence. Okay, that's contempt. Bill Plute's construction expertise is key here. He knows you can't spend that much without massive fraud or building something in secret. What were they constructing? Underground bunkers? Surveillance systems? Of course, timing matters as well. Powell crashed the housing market, destroyed your purchasing power, then renovated his fortress. And Trump gets it. He's always late. He's always wrong. But the real question is what they're hiding in those walls. Every corrupt regime builds monuments to itself before falling. And the Fed's golden palace might just be their tomb. NPR, PBS, being defunded. The Fed could be next. So here is the question. Should we end the Fed completely? I think if you guys know me well enough, you know my take. But I'd like to know yours. Drop a yes or a no in the comments. Let's continue this conversation down below. And also, while you're there, grab some gear from the merch shop. Help us expose the autopen scandal with our hilarious autopen, President Autopen t-shirt. Go to the, check it out. I think you're going to love it. Also, support Alligator Alcatraz. That's the new resort for illegals that President Trump and Ron DeSantis just opened up. A wonderful, wonderful resort. Has a lazy river around it. It's beautiful. And it has all natural wildlife in the lazy river. It's great. Air conditioning even too. Yeah, got it all. Go check it out. Trigger Liberal today at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Alligator Alcatraz has a lazy river. I make myself laugh. I'm so funny. That was good. No more super chats. Come on, guys. We are $25 away from hitting this number, $100 bill. Can we crack 100 today? So I don't have to sleep on the couch again. I have to report to Angie after every show. She says, Gary, did you make it? Did you hit the quota for super chats tonight? I said, no, honey. To the couch for you. That means you didn't do a good job on the raw feed tonight, honey. Do better, she says. Think about it while you're sleeping on the couch. Do you want me on the couch? I know you don't want me on the couch. All right, let's find out what the answer was. I know the answer. You guys said it was the Federal Reserve Act, and so did I. Well done. It passed in 1918 after secret meetings between bankers creating the private banking cartel that still controls America's money supply today. My, oh my. End the Fed. Can we just end the damn Fed already? Okay, we're going to move on to our next topic now. I want to make sure I've got it all here. 5.2, 5.3, 5.1. There we go. Ah, yes. Yes. Okay, so let's find out what our next question is before we hit our next topic. Which president eliminated entire federal agencies and fired thousands of bureaucrats? Was it A, Andrew Jackson, B, Theodore Roosevelt, C, Calvin Coolidge, or D, Ronald Reagan? Ooh, goodness, I don't know. Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna just Reagan. You guys are saying Reagan. Maybe we'll be correct. We'll find out the answer. Cast your vote in the poll, in the comments, or the chat. They wanted you broken. They wanted you poor. They wanted you dependent. Instead, Trump just dropped an economic bomb so massive even his critics cannot ignore it. Well, the establishment hoped that we'd tear ourselves apart over the Epstein files. Trump has been steamrolling ahead with the biggest industrial revival since World War II. Billions pouring in from everywhere. Dead factories coming alive. Foreign leaders with checks. Coke adding sugar again. Whoa. Of course, the media screaming about egg prices while we're collecting $100 billion in tariffs. Yet, we're still mad at the cover-ups. But Trump is not hiding in the shadows. He's in Pittsburgh announcing 92 billion reasons why America is back, baby. They thought internal drama would derail the Trump economy. They're dead wrong. Prosperity offensive has begun, so brace yourself. While Trump rebuilds America's economic foundation, your body's foundation needs rebuilding as well. Collagen production crashes after 40, taking your skin's firmness and joint health with it. But Just like we are reviving dead power plants, you can revive your skin with ageless multi-collagen. 5 types of collagen from 4 clean sources, perfectly absorbed to restore what time has stolen. No GMOs, no junk, just pure rejuvenation that works. Every order feeds hungry children through NoKidHungry.org. Visit healthwithgary.com for 51% off, free shipping, and a free skin guide. Because while Trump make America young, again, economically, you deserve to look and feel younger too. I mean, look at me. Look at how beautiful I am. Why? Go to healthwithgary.com and find out. All right, so this just in. Make American Coke as good, if not better than Mexican Coke again. President Trump posting this on Truth Social. I've been speaking to Coca-Cola about using real cane sugar in Coke in the United States, and they have agreed to do so. I'd like to thank all of those in authority at Coca-Cola. This will be a very good move by them. You'll see it's just better. Now, President Trump, make the next call. Let's get the cocaine back in Coca-Cola. All right? Let's really, take it up a notch. Can we do that? Not going to happen. We are so back, baby. Make Mexican Coke American again. Real cane sugar is back. Oh, and speaking of back, $10 billion worth of savings. Thank you to the DOGE boys. Haven't heard from the DOGE boys in a while. Kind of miss it since Elon has been on the outs. But we know DOGE is still working behind the scenes. Let's check in with the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, who is making a big announcement.
Claims the top. All right, we're here in my office, and I'm pleased to announce that the Secretary of the Air Force, Troy Mink, working with DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, has secured more than $10 billion in savings. They're cutting waste and working with vendors to reduce contract spending. So I want to commend you, Mr. Secretary, and the entire Air Force team for being relentless in rooting out excess. The Air Force can now the top 2 spots on the DOGE savings podium. I don't know where this podium is. I'm told it's somewhere maybe in the basement of the Pentagon, but we're going to dust it off, and the Air Force claims the top 2 spots, symbolizing their commitment to leadership and to you, the taxpayer. So thank you to the Secretary for being an example of stewardship, and we appreciate your dedication to President Trump's mission of peace through strength. Outstanding work, and appreciate all you're doing.
Well, thank you, Secretary Hegseth. As you said, efficient use of taxpayer dollars is critical to national security and maintaining our lethality. Over the past 6 months, we've looked at 500 contracts, 50 business systems, realizing more than $10 billion of savings. And as I said, with the modernization going on, which is the largest in the history of the Air Force, every last dollar is going to be necessary to bring that lethality and peace through strength. Thank you for the team. Thank you, sir, for supporting the Department of the Air Force, and look forward to working for you.
Great work. Let me see that card. 50 business systems.
50.
That gives you a sense of what we're up against here. I mean, 500 contracts is probably just the beginning.
Yeah, part of it was actually shrinking down the number of business systems to try to streamline things a little bit.
I mean, and you've got huge platforms America's going to rely upon. I mean, the F-47, you name it, the Air Force is involved in it. This is huge. This is part of what we were sent here to do. Find those dollars to put them toward the president's mission to keep the country safe. So I appreciate you leading the way. A lot of hard work here, and thank you to DOGE also for making it happen.
Thank you, DOGE. Thank you, DOGE. Thank you, DOGE. National Economic Council advisor, our director Kevin Hassett on the tariffs. New activity. Even new requests. Oh, yes.
Good idea to. They are coming, and you just saw one with Indonesia. And the bottom line is the president has given a very strict deadline with these letters for people to come in and finish the negotiations. So anybody who thought that it might be a good idea to drag their feet a little bit longer to hold out for a little bit more or less of a concession in the United States, they now know that they got to put up or face the consequences of doing what it says in the letter. And so we've seen a flurry of new activity, even requests from new countries since the letter started to go out. And so we've got Indonesia out, and there's going to be a whole bunch more very, very soon. They are coming.
Let's go, baby. Keep it coming. Okay, rapid response 11 hours ago in the Oval Office, Crown Prince and Prime Minister of Bahrain What? Holy cow, $17 billion? Check this out.
Real deals. They don't have to. We're very happy to be announcing $17 billion worth of deals that are coming to the United States. And this is real. This isn't...
it's real money.
These aren't fake deals. These are real deals.
They don't have to borrow the money.
We don't have to borrow it. It's coming in. And it only builds upon a legacy that we're very proud of. We have had a relationship in the civil side between our two countries since 1893, and normally since 1948. So may it long continue, and we look forward to many, many more years of productive partnership. Thank you, Mr. President.
We will have
you
to
honor us. We're very happy to be.
$17 billion, man. The cash is flowing. Here's President Trump on tariff revenues. We've already brought in over $100 billion. $100 billion, baby, with a B.
Already we've brought...
Specifically, how much revenue do you think we can consistently bring in from these tariffs, and how big of a game changer is this, not only for the economy, but also fiscal responsibility?
Well, we're going to be bringing in, already we've brought in over $100 billion. We'll be bringing in hundreds of billions of dollars. And the tariffs really haven't kicked in that much other than automobiles and steel. August 1st is a big day. August 1st is when very substantial money comes into our country. We've made deals with a lot of great places, but we had one yesterday, that was announced. We have another one coming up, maybe with India. I don't know. We're in negotiation. When I send out a letter, that's a deal. In other words, that's a deal. They don't want to ever say that. Oh, how many deals have you made? The best deal we can make is to send out a letter. And the letter says that you'll pay 30%, 35%, 25%, 20%, in one case 50%, Brazil. And because what they're doing to their former president is disgraceful. I know the former president, he fought like hell for the people of Brazil, that I can tell you. And I believe he's an honest man. I think what they're doing to him is terrible. So, we have some pretty good deals to announce, but every time we send out a letter, that's a deal. The big one really is going to be on the 150 countries that we're really not negotiating with, and they're smaller. We don't do much business with them. Because you have a lot of countries, you have over 200 countries, and a lot of people don't know this, but we'll have well over 150 countries that we're just going to send a notice of payment out, and the notice of payment is going to say what the tariff, and it's all going to be the same for everyone, for that group. They don't, they're not big countries, and they don't do that much business. It's not like the ones that we've agreed with, like China, like Japan, where we're negotiating with them, but I think probably we'll live by the letter with Japan. We're very close to a deal with India where they open it up. Indonesia yesterday it wasn't an open country, now it is. And they have tremendous copper, quality copper, and probably the most copper. And we made a deal with Indonesia. We pay no tariff, zero, and we have total access to trade. That's a phenomenal deal for our companies. And we've agreed with them, as you know, on 19%. They pay 19%. And it's a good deal for them, it's a good deal for us in that case. But we have a number of them coming up. But overall, we're doing well, and we're taking in a lot of money,
Specifically, how
Trump knows how to get the money. I'm loving it. Uh-oh. Right on cue. CNN panel cannot come to grips with reality. They're all saying egg prices are up under Trump, but only if you use year-over-year data. To be clear, Scott Jennings rightfully pointed out that Trump has kept true to his promise to bring egg prices down. Make eggs great again.
It's not the ones that this data is, one way or another. I should be clear.
I think it's a mistake to do this cherry picking. I mean, men's suits, men's underwear, boys' shoes, girls' shoes, women's outerwear, bananas, tomatoes, tea, outdoor equipment. I mean, I could go down. These things were falling.
these things are falling. Gas prices are at a 4-year low. I think
but also, I mean, the top line number is an increase in inflation that actual economists, not the ones that play one on TV, say is due to tariffs. So in addition to what you're saying, obviously not all prices are going up, but they're going up enough that it's showing up in the numbers.
Look, here's my view. The core CPI forecast was 3%. It came in at 2.9. For the 5 months of Trump's administration, inflation has matched or beat expectations. The economy is booming with new investments. There's a lot to be proud of in what they have accomplished. Locking in the permanency of the tax cuts is a good thing. And so the Republican White House view of this right now is to be bullish on America. And when you look at the people who are investing in this country, massive companies, massive investments, it's outrageous what he's been able to generate so far. So I do think the panic over this report today is unwarranted, but I do think data is worth watching every month. But it's not. But it seems like a lot of panic for no reason. You're getting matched reports every month.
It's not panic when we were promised on August 15th of last year that the price of eggs, that the price of bacon, and the price of apple. 69%. Actually, eggs year over year are up by 20. Are up 27%.
They're down.
I'm sorry.
Since he took office, they're down.
But if
year over year.
All right.
He promised when he took office they would go down.
Hold on. Let's not fight about statistics here. She's right. Year over year are up significantly. Month over month, they've gone down, but that's from their high, which occurred partly due to bird flu and other things.
Right. So let's be very clear.
Okay, I'm getting bored with CNN. I mean, look, we're winning. Just accept it. Okay? Scott Jennings, I commend you for going into that Lions Den every day. What's this here? More from CNN. Henry Enton, their famed pollster over there. What do we got? Reality check. Dems are way behind their 2006-2018 pace on the generic ballot at this point in the cycle. Ahead by only 2 points versus 7 points. Seat-by-seat analysis actually reveals more GOP pickup opportunities than Dems, very much unlike 2006 or 2018 at this point. Okay, well, that's what we need. We need to win the midterms. So, Henry Enton over there at CNN, breaking the bad news to the Democrats. Let's listen.
Particular point. The bottom line is this. Democrats are behind their 2006 and 2018 paces when it comes to the generic congressional ballot. What are we talking about here? All right, the Democrats versus the Republicans on the generic congressional ballot, the margins. Look at where we are now. Democrats are ahead, but by just 2 points. Look at where Democrats were already ahead by in 2017. They were behind by 7 points. How about 2005 on the generic congressional ballot? Ahead by 7 points, ahead by 7 points, and now they're only ahead by 2 points. Their lead is less than half of where it was in either 2017 or 2005 in July of those years, the year before the midterm election. Yes, Donald Trump may be unpopular, but Democrats have not come anywhere close to sealing the deal at this particular point.
Yeah, wave looks very different.
Yes.
All right, this is the generic ballot test. This is when you test people in a generic question. Of course, the House races aren't generic. There are 435 of them. What happens when you go race by race?
What happens when you go race by race? Well, it's the same idea. Okay, House seat ratings with a GOP president like back in 2005 and, of course, 2017. More net pickup seat chances. Well, last time around, look at that. Democrats were ahead by 33 seats. How about in 2005? Democrats were ahead by 7 seats. What's going on right now? It's actually Republicans. Republicans with more net pickup chances at plus 12, according to the Cook Political Report, when you add in the likelies, the leans, and the toss-up races. So it's not just on the generic ballot where Democrats are behind their 2017 and 2005 pace. It's actually when it comes seat by seat, you see that at least at this particular point, Republicans actually have more net pickup opportunities. This doesn't look anything like those wave elections back in 2006 or 2018.
If it doesn't look anything like those years, what does it look like?
Okay, so what does it look like? Well, let's take a look back at the generic congressional ballot. What was going on in Ipsos in October of 2024? Democrats were ahead by 2 points. Look at where we are now. Democrats ahead by 2 points among registered voters. At this particular point, this election cycle looks a lot more like 2024 than it does than either 2018 or 2006. And so, of course, Republicans actually held onto the House back in 2024. Will it happen this time around? We'll just have to wait and see. But for anyone who's writing the Republican House's political obituaries, hold the phone. This is a reality check. Republicans are still very much in the game.
Yeah, baby, we in the game. You ain't going to stop us now. All right. Trump's huge tariffs gave America its first surplus in 20 years.
So it looks like Donald Trump's tariffs that everybody was losing their mind about in April are actually doing their job. Reports have come out that for the first time in over 20 years, the United States now has a surplus of over $26 billion. Donald Trump just put the tariffs on in April. And just so y'all can understand just how crazy this really is, allow me to elaborate. In May, we had a deficit of $316 billion. The following month, June, we had a surplus of $26 billion. Which means we wiped out a deficit of $316 billion in 1 month, and we gained $26 billion. That's how good the tariffs are doing right now. Do you understand? And don't bother hearing about this on the mainstream media because you're not going to hear it. Trump has only been president for what, like 6 months? And he already has America with a $26 billion surplus? First one in over 20 years? That lets you think like, wait, why haven't we been doing this the entire time? Tariffs clearly are working. It's baffling, really, when you think about it. Like, we could have been doing tariffs this entire time, and America could have. So it looks like Donald Trump's tariffs that everybody was losing their mind.
Everyone's losing their mind over the tariffs. Oh, we're all going to die.
You said people going to die?
Yeah, Jar Jar. That's what they were saying. They really were saying that, Jar Jar. You know? But turned it all around because President Trump's on the case. We got some new information about some procedures over at the Energy Department looking at an environmental check on the impacts of proposed projects, new procedures.
Which is an environment. There's so many things that have to change to make things happen. And you point out a great one, NEPA. All of the agencies that have NEPA regulations, including my own, the Department of Energy, on July 1st, released new versions. This is what we expect you for NEPA. And it's back to the original intent of the law, which is an environmental check on the impacts of your proposed project, not an exhaustive study that can be sued and litigated for years and years. We've got to return common sense so we can build things in America again, and we're going to do it.
That's what we are doing. Here we have President Trump doing the campaign. I promised I'd save Homer City Power Plant in Pennsylvania. Boom!
Homer City. You were in Pennsylvania yesterday. You unveiled $92 billion of investments. One of those jumped out, though, $15 billion in Homer City to build the largest natural gas power plant ever. I was at the rally where you told Homer City residents that you would not forget them when the biggest coal plant in Pennsylvania closed down. You delivered for them yesterday. What message do you have to those residents?
Well, I'm happy. Homer City. I was there, and I said, I'm going to produce something, I don't know what, because they had shut down this massive coal plant, one of the biggest in the country. And it was just purchased by the gentleman that you met yesterday, a very substantial man. I don't know if he's maybe not as substantial as you, I'm not sure. But he's pretty substantial. You know who I'm talking about. And they're going to spend billions of dollars on rebuilding it. And it's going to be the largest plant of its kind in the world, I believe, actually in the world, and it's going to be great. So we really fulfilled that promise to Homer City, but it's to Pennsylvania, basically. I won Pennsylvania, and very conclusively won Pennsylvania, so I owe them a big debt of gratitude, but thank you for bringing that up. We raised 92, it's actually going over 100, so it'll be over $100 billion to be invested in Pennsylvania. It was Pennsylvania Energy Project. So we had, everybody was there. Larry Fink was there. I mean, everybody was there and done a great job. The senator did a great job. And we're very proud. That was a great meeting yesterday. Thank you very much.
So you were in Pennsylvania yesterday.
All right. If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is what victory looks like when you stop playing defense. While we're rightfully demanding Epstein answers and exposing shadow presidents, Trump is executing the greatest wealth transfer in history. From them to us. $100 billion in tariffs already, with the real tsunami hitting August 1st. $92 billion in Pennsylvania alone. The Homer City plant, Biden killed, resurrected with $15 billion in private money. Even Muslim royalty writing $17 billion checks to America. DOGE just on $10 billion in Pentagon waste. The Fentanyl Act, crushing cartels, Democrats polling worse than ever. This is not just winning, it's domination. They want us divided and distracted. Instead, we're getting rich while demanding justice. That is the Trump paradox. He drives us crazy that delivers results that makes the pain worth it. So here's your question. Is Trump's economic boom worth tolerating for what we should be seeing with Epstein? I know we all want answers. They're on the horizon. But just drop a yes or no in the comments below. Then you can grab some victory gear from our merch shop. Help us expose President Autopen. Hilarious t-shirt design. You got to see it. Go to the link in the description. Shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. You can see it for yourself. Or if you want to support the Alligator Alcatraz, the exclusive, all-inclusive new resort by Ron DeSantis down in Florida. Yeah, beautiful resort with its own moat and natural wildlife. You can support Alligator Alcatraz. Just go to the link, check it out. Trigger liberal today with our gear at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Okay, now before we get to our answer, and don't go anywhere because I'm going to see if I can track down that news report that we did this morning with Fox 32. It's a very interesting little kind of side hustle I got going on. And it's not something I often talk about, but since this is the raw feed, I'm going to get raw with you. And you'll have an exclusive look at the world premiere of one of my latest actions. No, it's more like it was my imagination that came to this realization, and I said we can do this, and we did it. And Fox 32 was there. I'm going to show it to you. So stick around for that. It's going to come up in just a moment. I got to track it down, see if we can make sure we can show it to you. But we've got some super chats that have just come through. AJ Cruz does not want to see me on the couch. Make Clinton wrestle with an alligator. $2 in the jar for that. Thank you. Alex Amo, a video game controller, $4.99. Thank you for that. And then we also have Marshmallow. Here's some, Gary. Thank you for time. Much appreciated. Drake to David. Gary, you magnificent sexy beast. Keep doing what you do. Well, appreciate your hard work. It doesn't go unnoticed. Thank you, David to David, or Drake to David. That was $5 there. And Karen Finley, hope this helps keep you off the couch. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Karen. We appreciate you over here at the Next News Network. Okay, so we get to our answer of our trivia question. I'm going to track down that video exclusively for you guys here. This will only be on the raw feed, so don't go anywhere. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's really cool. It's two and a half years in the making. A lot of headaches. But every minute and every dollar spent was worth it. So let's find out the answer. It was actually A, Andrew Jackson. You guys said Ronald Reagan, and that's what I said.
How dare you?
Yeah, we do not want to piss off Greta. Andrew Jackson, he eliminated the Second Bank of the United States and fired 10% of federal employees in his war against the establishment elite of his day. Okay, let's see if I can track down that video now, because I know it's on my Facebook, but sometimes Facebook doesn't always present the video in the best way. But I do have it here. I think I can play it. Okay. Hopefully I can do it. Let's see if we can bring this up for you guys.
Great Scott.
And no one company is.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. Well, no one can forget the iconic car that transports Doc Brown and Marty McFly back to the future.
Great Scott.
Great Scott.
And no one company is giving you a chance to ride in a car just like it, minus the time travel. So think of the staff here at Fox 32. Who would be a perfect fit for this story? Obviously, it's Jake Hamilton. Jake, where are you?
Guys,
I gotta be honest with you. Whenever you are in the shadow of a clock tower in an empty mall parking lot, there's a good chance you're thinking of one thing. You're thinking of something that comes out of this truck, that comes courtesy of Doc Brown himself. You're thinking of one of the most iconic pieces of pop culture ever. I'm talking about this baby right here. The DeLorean from Back to the Future, 88 miles an hour, and you can go anywhere. But what if I told you that you don't have to go 88 miles an hour? You can go anywhere just by renting it. Out of Naperville, DeLorean Rentals, you can rent one of these things. They have a fleet of 80 of them from around the world. It is so specific, guys. They were telling me down to where all the zip ties are on the car is exactly where they are in the movie. These are not just a DeLorean and, hey, doesn't it look like the time machine from Back to the Future? It is specific. They have a certain quality that these DeLoreans have to prove that they are worthy of true Back to the Future fans. And in true Back to the Future fans, they've got props for look inside. We've got Doc Brown's glasses. We've got Marty McFly's hat. We've got Anthony, look. We've got Biff's almanac. If you're a fan of Back to the Future, you know what all these things look. Butthead, come on McFly, come on McFly. If you're a fan of Back to the Future, you're probably geeking out right now. This is one of the coolest live shots I have done in years. We're going to tell you how you can rent one of these things and the local connection. The movie celebrating its 40th anniversary just a couple of days ago. We've got Einstein the dog here. We've got the plutonium, Doc Brown's truck, which has never been revealed on television before. This is the first time it's ever been seen. If you can't tell, I'm having a great time here. We're in North Aurora. The company's out of Naperville. We're in the shadow of a freaking clock tower, guys. It is the absolute coolest live shot we have coming up. We're going to tell you how you can get behind the wheel of one of these things and see some serious stuff. I had to adjust that line, if you don't mind. On that note, we're going to toss it back to you guys in the studio. I tell you where I'm going, but it's just a place I don't need roads. I don't need roads. I'll see you guys.
It's never coming back, you know. Serious stuff. Yeah,
that was a very smart edit by him, too, to keep our show FCC compliant.
Yeah. Where is he going, I wonder? Who's he dialing up?
I'm going to a very specific day. I'm going to my next live shot. I'm going to fast forward to an hour.
All right. Thank you, Jake. We can't wait to see more of this. Pretty awesome. I almost don't want to look away. Plenty more Good Day Chicago ahead. Keep it right here.
Hey, Anita, when we come back, we are going 88 miles an hour to tell you how you can rent an iconic piece of pop culture history. Where we're going, we don't need roads. When Good Day Chicago returns.
8:56, and we sent Jake back to the future this morning. Yes, he's our own future boy in North Aurora, and I don't think I've ever seen him so happy in my life.
No, I know. Jake, what year are you in right now?
Well, right now I'm here with you guys, if only to be able to tell you about this incredible company. It's called DeLoreanRental.com. Where you can have a piece of pop culture history, if only for a limited time. We want to give a shout out to the city of North Aurora for letting us borrow their clock tower for a second. But I got to come over and talk to my man Jason with DeLoreanRental.com, who is making all of my nerdy Back to the Future dreams come true. Jason, before we get started, in the hour and a half we have been in this parking lot, the amount of people who have come by, stopped their cars, gotten out, taken pictures, slowed down, rolled down their windows, is that the ultimate sign of, like, 40 years later, people still love this car?
Yeah, I think that's a sign of the times, right? There's been probably, 15, 20 different people that have stopped that, whether that be cars or workers across the street.
Yeah, we've had post office workers come by and want to take pictures. Now, tell me about DeLoreanRental.com. You guys have a fleet of more than 80 DeLoreans around the world. You're based out of Naperville, but how does it work logistically?
Yeah, so obviously this beautiful car you see right here, which is an exact replica of the time machine from Back to the Future. We've got...
Quick note, I'm sitting in the back there against the storefront.
car in the Chicagoland area. They're available for anything you can imagine: birthdays, weddings, corporate events, video shoots.
But what I love, though, is that it's not just like being a DeLorean isn't good enough for you guys. For you, it's got to be like the Back to the Future DeLorean. It's got to have the details. It's got to have those small little touches that make it light up whenever they see it. Talk to me about sort of, I guess, just the quality standard that you demand out of your DeLoreans in your company.
Definitely. If you're going to do something, you want to do it right. So all the cars that we work with are basically as close to what you see on the movie screen as you're going to get. Right?
You were telling me the location of the zip ties,
correct,
are where they are in the movie. Like it's those little details that just make someone go, okay, come on, this is amazing.
Yeah, and you'll even see the numbers that are located on these, what we call hockey pucks.
Yeah.
The exact numbers.
Come on!
The placement of
Jason, that's what I'm talking about, man. I love it.
Every single part that you see on this car is, again, you can screen match it up to the movie.
I love it. Now, we've got the Mr. Fusion right here. Now, listen, when we come back in the next hour, we're going to actually get inside the DeLorean because it works. The logistics and everything. It's incredible.
All the props
down to the details of the Mr. Fusion, which make the car go 88 miles an hour, so you can see some serious stuff. We're going to say on live television. But on that note, we are live out here in North Aurora. It is DeLoreanRental.com. If you want one of these for yourselves, we'll tell you more in the next hour of Good Day Chicago. We'll be right back. Fox 32 News is brought to you.
Just about 9:46, Jake is giving us a blast from the past this morning.
You got the assignment of the day, right? He's allowed to show some DeLoreans and how you can also get your hands on one. Hey, Jake.
Hey, what's up, guys? And what better place to do this live shot than here in North Aurora in the shadow of a clock tower, the perfect place to have my hoverboard, to have Doc Brown's truck beside me, and of course to have one of the most iconic pieces of pop culture history. We're talking the DeLorean, but guess what? You can have it too, courtesy DeLoreanRental.com. And my man Jason here. Jason, good to see you again, my friend.
Good to see you again.
Dude, so what we were bragging about in the last hour is that the fleet of 80 DeLoreans that you have around the world, you're based out of Naperville, but you have 80 around the world that people can rent. It's not just a DeLorean. These things are basically the car from Back to the Future, equipped with everything that makes the Back to the Future DeLorean. Tell me a little bit about how some of this really does act, short of going to the future or to the past, these things work.
It really does work. Why have a time machine if it can't act and look just like the movie, right? So, similar to the movie?
Come on!
The time circuits do
come on, man!
Now, I do have one caveat.
Yes.
I was able to travel back in time. Your birthday happens to be 1/1888.
Well done, sir!
So why don't we see if we can...
Come on.
88. There's your birthday.
Love it.
And an experience that we like to give people, we can actually help you travel back in time.
Let's see it.
So we hit this button here, the speedometer, once it gets up to 88 miles an hour, just like the movie,
you'll
notice the flux capacitor.
Flux capacitor going. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's the sort of X factor that you're providing at DeLoreanRental.com, because it's not just renting one of these cars to be able to get into DeLorean. I mean, these are for people that really have an appreciation for the small details. I mean, you guys have everything from prop, you've got the hoverboard, this is a pretty incredible experience. So explain to people exactly how the rental process works.
Yeah, so the rental process is really easy. Again, it doesn't matter where you're at in the country. Head on over to DeLoreanRental.com and you can hit the location button at the top and just send us an email. There's a quote button at the top. Click that. I handle everything personally.
I want to brag about something that just happened, because we've been talking all morning long about the fact that people have been driving through this parking lot, stopping their cars, getting out, coming over, taking pictures. Case in point, guys, an entire fire truck just pulled up in the parking lot, and all the firemen got out and came over to take pictures. Is that Is that pretty common for something like that to happen?
It's extremely common. And like we mentioned earlier, you get such different reactions from people crying to people jumping up and down. It's such a joy to be able to bring this to the community and to the world.
And, in true staying, to Back to Future fashion, it's not just the DeLorean. You guys are premiering Doc Brown's truck live on Fox 32. Talk to me about, that's pretty incredible that even the delivery of the DeLoreans is true to the movie.
Yeah, so obviously 80 throughout the country. This is the only one in the country that will show up to your house or your event in the Doc Brown van, and the car will come out of the back just like the movie.
But we, one maybe disclaimer, one stipulation we might want to add, that we don't want people going 88 miles an hour because the only place you're going to time travel to is low traffic court. Is that correct?
That's correct. While we don't advocate for that, we will take you for a ride in it, but we can't get up to 88. But police do love pulling us over from time to time to take a look at the car.
Well done. So really quick, one more time, where can people get more information if they want to try this out for themselves?
They can head on over to DeLoreanRental.com, and we can look forward to making your dreams come true.
Well, you have made my dream come true. Jason, my man, I appreciate you. DeLoreanRental.com. He's based out of Naperville. The good folks here at North Aurora let us be live all morning in the shadow of their gorgeous clock tower. Guys, if you can't tell, I'm a bit of a Back to the Future fan, so this is about as close to a perfect live shot as I'm ever going to get as we toss it back to you guys in the studio.
That is great.
You're not getting this back.
I love those cars. They've got the stainless steel body panels. They were built in Belfast, Northern Ireland, which is kind of unusual there. And
it looks exactly like it.
And they bring it in a Dr. E. Brown truck trailer.
Oh, yeah.
That's sweet.
Got the clock tower in the background.
Ooh, what's that? A snack?
I'm not sure what's.
Is this a connection to
a snack? Have you never seen Back to the Future?
I don't know. Jake, do you guys know what that was? Back me up.
What did you talk to your husband about?
Jake.
Oh, man, Jake.
Sorry.
Get the AC turned on in that thing, will you? Stick around. We have got.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Would You Rather is coming up next.
Wow, yeah. So that's where I was this morning. We had to get up at 5:30. We had to be on location by 6:45. And then we had to stage the vehicle. That was the first time that the truck had ever made its public appearance on television. So that was like the big grand announcement. Amazing experience. 2.5 years in the making for that truck to come together. I mean, that's why you see these little things on my desk here. I got my Doc Brown truck and I got my DeLorean here. You gotta have a hobby, especially in this world, and especially if you're covering the news 24 hours a day. Sometimes you need to just take it back to when things were simpler, like the 1980s. But that's what we got today, friends. Today's Raw Feed, exposing the fault lines running through the heart of American power, starting with the MAGA civil war over Epstein files, Trump calling his own base stupid, while they demand transparency about the most explosive blackmail operation in history. The movement that put him in power is now questioning everything, and that's exactly what should happen when politicians choose secrecy over truth. And President Trump heard our calls, and the special counsel looks like it is on the horizon. We're going to get some answers, finally. Then we pulled back the curtain on the autopen presidency, Anthony Bernal, taking the fifth rather than admit who really ran America for 4 years. Executive orders signed by ghosts, the shadow government operating while the elected president couldn't find his way off a stage. Now, this was not incompetence. This was a coup in slow motion executed with a mechanical pen. And the grand conspiracy investigation into Russiagate heating up. Adam Schiff referred for mortgage fraud, the appetizer before the main course of treason charges. The FBI finally admitting what we knew all along. There was a coordinated plot to overthrow the 2016 election. Comey, Brennan, maybe even Obama himself, all in the crosshairs now. The hunters have become the hunted. Jerome Powell's day is numbered. $2.5 billion in Fed renovations while you can't afford groceries. Bill Pulte demanding answers. Trump promising change within months. The creature from Jekyll Island is finally facing the audit it's avoided for over a century. So this isn't just about one bad Fed chair. It's about ending the private banking cartel that's enslaved generations. And through it all, Trump keeps delivering economic dynamite. $92 billion in Pennsylvania, $100 billion in tariffs. The Homer City plant rising from Biden's ashes. Even as we tear ourselves apart over secrets and lies, the economic engine roars back to life. That is the paradox of the Trump era. Maximum chaos and maximum results. So thank you, everyone who sent in Super Chats and Rumble Rants today. We didn't quite hit our $100 mark, so I will be on the couch tonight. We're at $96.96. Thank you to Karen and Drake, to David, Marshmallow, Alex, AJ Cruz, all you guys for sending in Super Chats. Sharon, Pothead Kenny, R. Boyd, Alice Cersei, Ross, Karen, Free Speech for Life, Inhuman Condition, Lori, Jim, Duty to Rebel, all you guys, your voice matters. Your support keeps us independent. Remember to tell a friend, though, about the Raw feed. Text in the link. Share it on X. All right. Break their algorithms with human connections. All right. And when these segments drop on the YouTube channel, find your favorite segment from today's show and share it. That's how we win. If you want to wear your support, you can hit up shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. We've got designs that will trigger the establishment and support the truth movement. Every purchase helps us stay on the air and stay independent and stay dangerous to those who fear transparency. Tomorrow, we will be back with more explosive revelations. The grand conspiracy case is accelerating. The Fed audit could drop any day. And the Epstein files, well, that fight is far from over. The storm isn't coming. It's here. And you are in the eye of it. I'm Gary Franchi. You've been watching the Raw feed. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and we'll see you in the future. The truth stops for no one.